You ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down!
We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Down Cast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 306 of Guardian Down Cast. I'm your host, Todd the Gator, and I'm a Day One Guardian who loves gaming, especially the Destiny franchise. We're the podcast that's all about your stories, your community, and your destiny. For those of you who may have just discovered our podcast, we are a weekly Destiny and gaming show and have been producing audio episodes for over 5 years now. Things have changed a little bit over the years, but the one big change that we do is we do live shows every week, almost every week. And we have our live version on YouTube and are also in Twitch now and in our Discord. And if you ever want to join our Discord, it's discord.gg/GuardianDownCast. It's Todd the Gator, 2 Ds, G-A-T-R on Twitch and on YouTube if you want to join live in our chat. This week, it is our monthly roundtable episode. For those of you who may be new to the podcast, once a month, we have a roundtable episode whereby members of our community bring us topic, story, article, or just a point of view to the table. The topics can be anything related to our gaming industry, entertainment, social media, basically anything that pertains to our love of our hobby in life. Each of us will introduce our topic and then give our opinions and takes on it. And then, we'll go around the table and see what everyone else has to say about the topic of conversation. In this month's roundtable episode, I have my co-host from the great state of Utah. It's Mr. Kingsley Mack, who has brought his own topic tonight. How are you doing, Mike?
Hello. Great to be here once again.
Thank you, sir. Every week he's here, gentlemen and ladies. We have a returning guest roundtable on the show tonight, and he's been a longtime member of our community and is the co-host of the Potato Thumbs podcast. I've been listening to this podcast for over 7 years now, and every week they have a great time talking about gaming, bringing on members of their community. He's a mod and a previous speedrun champion, and it's been a while since we've talked with him. His last roundtable was on episode 239 back in February of last year, but has been on our show so many times I can't count. So let's look it up. He's been on our guest on our show, episodes 239, 170, 113, 45, and 18. And episode 4, his very first interview with us on August 18th, 2019. Yeah, we're acquainted. It's the man from the great state of Wisconsin and whom I consider a very good friend. Please welcome back Mr. AdmiralNips. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing great. I didn't even realize that it was 2019, like when we first did this. That's crazy how long ago it was, but glad to be back.
Yeah, it is. It's been a long time, man. This is why I love podcasting. I'm just sitting here talking with my friends tonight and we get to talk about some cool stuff. And, I'm really looking forward to this. Well, our final guest has also been a past roundtabler, and the last roundtable he was on was back in May of 2024 on episode 251. As he always likes to say, he's one part of the Potato Thumbs podcast and also has been, I've been a guest on my Destiny Help Desk podcast as well that I started years ago and unfortunately has now been retired. He's one of the very few that I have personally met in real life. And yes, as you can see, the hair is real. Jesus Christ. So you don't have to ask, in the chat if it is his real hair. Yes, it is his real hair. He has that. That is his. He's a crazy mountain biker, runner, snowboarder, and whatever else he can get himself into from the great state of Minnesota. Please welcome back Mr. FluffyFingersMD. How you been, Derek?
Hello. I would like to add to that I am also a speedrun champion and I have a tank top to prove it.
Yes, he does.
And I would like to bring forth a topic that is unscheduled, and that is that I believe that we need to bring back the Destiny Help Desk. Because God knows Destiny needs all the damn help that it can get at this point.
I agree.
That was the point of the podcast, right? Like how to help Bungie not suck.
Well, the reason I had that podcast was to help new players because the new player experience is terrible for.
I'm being funny.
You went with that joke, and I just totally Went right over my head. Sorry, brother. I know.
No, I liked the help desk. I think,
fun.
similar to like the YouTube videos that you started making, like when you first started getting into it, right? Like, people are, there's always going to be someone looking to get better, looking to need help, looking for whatever, right? And even on a game that is that old, you still have new people show up in the community, right? New people playing, like
every day.
It's just how it works. There's enough people. The numbers are just going to lean that way no matter what. So
yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention. He's been on episodes 251, 233, 230, 152, 125, 75, and his original show with us back in October 28th of 2019. That was episode. I didn't write it down. Okay, so it's probably like episode 4 or something. It can't be.
It was better. It was sooner. It was
14,
more
maybe?
Recent. Like
14.
It was lower number than what Nips had. That's all I really remember.
Nips was episode.
Because
I was 4, so that makes you 3 or 2 or 1. When you were there in the initial run.
No, it was 14. So I forgot to write it down.
What happened was they did like a demo episode that never got released, like an unreleased episode. Like, is this really a podcast thing that we could do? And I was on that one as the third person, but they voted me off, and I didn't want to say anything to you, Rob. So this is really awkward that you're finding out now, 6 years later.
They're not competitive at all, folks. Not competitive at all.
Easy did a better job than you anyways.
Oh my God. Yeah, we miss Easy. Easy was fun to hang out with. Hazel was too. But before we get started tonight, I wanted to just catch up with you guys because it's been over a year since we talked with you guys, and you guys continue to do your awesome podcast, which I think you're in your 7th. Well, you're over, let's see, we're at 306. So I think you're like at 410 or 15.
We released
410 was last night.
Wow.
So we released 410 last night, but we're somewhere in the 420, 430 range because we don't number all of the bonus episodes and like D&D episodes and all that stuff that we do.
That's right.
But it is 410 straight weeks we've put out a single episode. We haven't missed a week yet.
That's admirable.
He's never missed a show.
Am I coming on 420? I think you guys said I was.
What is?
Good
do
point.
we even have 420?
I don't think we have it on our schedule yet, but
420
looks like we might have.
It will have a theme to it.
I already know who's going to be on it.
Last time we did a show on 420, I had to edit out 16 minutes of the podcast, which doesn't sound like much, but if you've ever edited a podcast, you'll know that 16 minutes of audio is a lot of audio.
Yeah.
Because of all of the pregnant pauses and dumb rabbit holes we went down, or things people said, or just moments of pure like stupidity. So I am down for doing this again, but yeah. Like whether it's magical and entertaining or not is another question.
Yeah.
So 416 will be 8 years. So yeah, you'll be like episode 4 of year number 9.
Wow.
So yeah, we're basically 4 episodes away from, 6 episodes away from 8 full years.
Dorath. I'm here for the Warframe segment. Good evening. How you doing, Dorath? Hello, MJT2, Cam the Jellyman. Welcome. I know it's been over a year since we talked with you guys. So actually right after this, we're going to get caught up and talk about our week. Hang in there.
Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian Downcast. Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels Todd the Gator and his podcast guests want to share with you guys. We have a brand new website too. Just visit guardiandowncast.com, where you can find all of our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give our show a rating or review, search for any past episodes, or even give back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some GDC merch. And finally, you can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out. And later, Guardian.
So let's before we get into our topics tonight, I really want to catch up with these two guys, and I'll start with you, Nips. What have you been up to, man? It's been over a year since we've seen you last. I know you've gotten married. Congratulations, sir. Sorry I couldn't be at that.
Yep, that was the big thing that's happened between February of last year and now. We went to Vegas in December and got married. And Derek was there. It was a nice small little group. It was like there's 25 people, I think. Got a nice little area way up, like right at the foot of the mountains in Vegas, and a nice little venue. And it was perfect. It was maybe, and I'm biased, right? Because I was part of the wedding party, but it was like the least serious wedding I've ever been at. Like I felt very relaxed the entire time, and we just had a great time. It was really just a lot of fun.
25's a party.
Like
man.
the whole day was just relax. Like at least for me, I was just watching everything, right? Yeah. But it was very chill. I have very, very awesome vibe.
Well, so catch us up, Nips. Also, if you want to mention any movies or anything you've been watching lately, we kind of throw that into our catch up segment as well. So anything you want to talk about, man? The floor's yours.
Yeah. So I've been reading a ton lately. So bringing this up because Murderbot is on Apple TV.
Isn't that great?
The new show, and it is easily my favorite sci-fi series out there. Martha Wells is just an amazing author, and so all the stuff she's written, I absolutely gobble up. And now that the TV show's out, I'm like, man, I'm really enjoying the show. So there's that. There's Poker Face that's back again on Peacock. That show's really enjoyable. And then lastly, I went to see Sinners a couple weeks ago, and I thought that was one of the better movies I've seen in a long time, too. So I absolutely loved it. I know we talked about it a little bit and have slightly differing opinions. You liked it, didn't love it. I was full send love. So
I just,
that's all right.
98 and 97 on Rotten Tomatoes just seemed a little high for me. But I mean, it was a great movie. I'm not saying it was a crap movie. I'm just saying I have seen a lot of other movies that deserve better scores. But I'm not biased.
Well, yeah, but Rotten Tomatoes, again, I mentioned that it's 51-49, right? Yeah. As long as you liked it more than you disliked it, you give it a thing. And I think that there's enough stuff in that movie that a large portion of the audience will absolutely find enough to like in it, right? There's enough action, there's enough drama, the music's amazing, the set pieces are amazing, the horror bits are pretty great. So like as long as you like any of that, you're going to be like, yeah, I enjoyed that movie. Was it great? No, but if I was voting on Rotten Tomatoes, it would get a fresh versus a rotten on that. So that's why I think you have a high thing there.
You're right. That's right. Okay. So what else you been up to, man? You guys can talk about the podcast too if you want. I mean, because I know you guys have been just killing it in the podcast space. But
we've been both playing a ton of other stuff, right? So obviously, we started with Destiny for forever. I think I probably bounced a little bit earlier than Fluffy, but both of us are sort of, I don't know. I think we looked at the heat map, and I last played Destiny in August of last year, maybe July.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like, I'm sure I'm going to come back and play eventually because there's a whole bunch of new stuff, and it'd be like fun to run through. But right now, I've just been bouncing around playing other games and enjoying the other games that are out there. And it's nice. It's a nice feeling to not feel like I have homework I have to do, which is where Destiny had gotten to. So now it'll be nice to, like, when the time comes to go back, that like actually play it and have fun and not worry about the homework part of it.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to play other games because let's face it, there's not a ton going on in Destiny right now. And I didn't know it'd been a year, man. Almost a year. 8 months maybe. But yeah,
pretty close. And no, it's June in 2 days. So by the time this comes out, it'll be June. So that's 11 months.
That just means you played Final Shape and then you tried the episodes and went, nah, pass. And a lot of people did that, by the way, because the episodes, let's face it, didn't land like I thought they would. But I mean, there were some high points to it, but yeah, I agree, man. I could see why you stepped away, and you play a ton of games. I think everyone here has played Claire Obscura except me, right? Is that the case?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Weirdo.
I'm weirdo.
Honestly, I'd be playing it right now if we were not doing this.
Yeah,
it's that good.
Show's over. Let's play it.
It's that good.
My topic: podcast. Who needs them?
I love it. So how's your doggy doing? Dog's doing good. I mean, Just trying to.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
We just we took him to Milwaukee last week to do his every 3-month blood donation. He's a blood donor, so everyone they always tell about that, they're like, I didn't even think about dogs having to donate blood. And it's like, well, yeah, you're gonna need blood transfusions for dogs when stuff happens too. But it's a real nice, easy thing to do. If you got a dog that weighs more than 50 pounds and has the right blood type, go find your local emergency vet, and they'll give you usually your preventatives for free, so I don't have to pay for heartworm and flea and tick medicine, and I get a $50 gift card to PetSmart every time he goes in. So
damn, that's a good deal, man.
Works out pretty well for us, and then I get the fun pictures of him being drugged up and missing half of his blood every time we come back too, because he's laying there with his tongue hanging out of the side of his mouth as he's listing for him to get off of his. So yeah, but otherwise doing well. He's all right. We're starting to get warm here, so our walks are going to be a little trickier, but just means I got to bring more water for him, because both of us are not in the shape we need to be to do real long walks yet.
I got you. Well, FluffyFingersMD, what race have you done lately? I know you love to do races, man. I heard your episode with Cliff. You're killing it, man. I mean, you're making us all look bad here. Anyway.
You know what, man? It's cool because I did do a race recently, and I got to do it with someone from the Discord. Someone that I originally met in Derp back in the D1 days, and then kind of moved with our communities, with Derp and Dad Tails and Here and Potato Thumbs. So yeah, Snatching Panda and I ran a 50K on a mountain in Washington. Went up and down the mountain 3 times. It was a lot of fun. We were both in the worst. Yeah, we were both in pretty horrible shape. We wish we were both about 20 pounds lighter when we did it, but we finished. So yeah, nice, that works. Man.
Yeah, he's good people, man.
It's been good, man.
Yeah,
I've been really blessed, with traveling and stuff. I would say in the past year, got to take the family to Hawaii for 2 weeks. Went to Kauai. That was a blast. Got the kids into surfing. We have surfing here, and we're lucky enough that one of my good friends owns a wakeboard boat. So we wake surf as a family with his family. We'll go out after work, we'll sit on his boat, and we'll take turns hitting waves until our legs are jello, right? And then it sunsets and you got to go in. But they've never surfed at an ocean before. And so we were in Kauai, we went to Honolulu Bay. It's a famous, surfing real location. Waves. Yeah, and we got some private lessons, and they dug it, and they were all about it. And so I leaned into it and got us 3 more days of lessons. And the last day, we got to hang out with the pro, for the morning, and just taught my family, put my kids on waves. It was really rad. My daughters both were way better than I am. And I have I don't know, I taught snowboarding. I've been on boards my whole life. I've been snowboarding since the early 90s. So I'm not bad on a board, but they absolutely just kicked my ass. Wow. My little one, her first day of lessons, the instructor, 3/4 of the way through the lesson, he's like, I've never had a lesson where I put someone on a wave and they ride every single wave into shore. Your daughter has not fallen once. This is insane.
Skill.
Yep. So that was fun. Went snowboarding in Colorado with Mr. Toll the Bell from DPS. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's been cool. A couple of us guys from the Discord are going to the Wu-Tang Clan RTJ concert in Philly in July, which should be pretty rad. Rob and I are going to North Carolina to meet up with some Discord people, Ghost and Nessie and Clay, in October.
Wow.
Rob's going to commit to going.
Twist his arm.
He hasn't yet, and he's not fully sure he can, but he would love to.
Yeah. And then, as, I don't know, other stuff, you mentioned mountain biking. I got into that recently, last couple of years. It's funny because I think mountain biking is kind of what led me to stepping away from Destiny 2, because I was thinking about it as Rob was talking, and the final shape came out in June, and I played, I no-lifed it because I wanted to do day one raid. And so we did day one raid. And then I took a break for like a week, right? Because when you no-life the game, when content first drops, and then you do the day one raid for 16 hours, like it breaks your will a little bit. You need to step back and not video game for a couple days. And then that following weekend, I got beat up by some rocks, like going out mountain biking with some friends. That. Like I tried to fight them. I thought I could get them. Like I came around the corner. I tried to jump the rocks. Not literally. I just went. I hit a rock with my tire and went over the handlebars and bashed the shit out of myself. But it led to me messing up my wrist and not being able to game for close to 2 months. Like I think it was like late September when I was able to actually like play M&K without pain and like play for more than 20 minutes. And at that point, I jumped back into D2, and it was when like they were doing tinctures. Like that was, or not tinctures, the mixed potions and that shit. And I was like, okay.
Kingsley's
I think it's just because
up.
I think I've been separated from this game long enough. Like I came in and I was just like, I just don't want to do this right now with my time. Like this is like, I like fighting things, but I don't want to do this. Like talk to this person, go mix this, talk to this person, go to this machine over here. Okay. Walk around this thing now, and whatever.
Yeah.
I digress.
So
then that led to like Call of Duty came out in October. So everyone jumped on Call of Duty, and then Rivals came out, and Rivals just sucked me in. And now I've been playing Expedition 33.
Yeah, but
life is good.
There's something else you've been playing, and I couldn't believe my ears when I heard it. You're actually doing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah. Well,
with
FUD.
Yeah.
Why is that
I'm
weird?
lucky enough.
I didn't say it was weird because he's a PvP player like me, and I just don't see him as a Dungeons and Dragons player.
Oh, dude, I like creativity. And I'm a very artsy like person. I like being spontaneous in my creativity, so it's kind of up my alley. Like I don't know, man. I enjoy it. It's fun. FUD makes it fun.
He does.
We have a fun dynamic too, because like he's on, his wife is on, Jackal or Russ is on the group with us, and then Eggman, who is Russ's brother-in-law, is on it, and then Winfoot's brother has been on it too with us, on and off. So like there's this really deep family and friend connection, and I just get to come along for the ride. So like, family treats themselves differently than friends treat each other, right? There's less boundaries. You can push things a little bit more with family.
There's no back turning.
You don't turn your back on family.
You don't. Yeah, you shouldn't. That's words
I appreciate the joke.
As my son is in chat right now. Yeah.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Life's good.
Good deal, man. That's good. I'm just so happy you guys are on tonight. I've gotten you guys on past roundtable episodes, but never together. So you get the full Potato Thumbs podcast treatment tonight, guys. So, and you guys got some awesome topics.
Sorry.
No, you guys are awesome. You guys got great chemistry. That's why when you both were able to come on tonight, I was like, this is going to be fun. So, welcome guys. And, it's good to have you guys on tonight. Mr. Kingsley Mack, what have you been up to this week, man?
Just saving the world, still doing my business. There's lots of movement in the space right now, which I was a little bit worried, not sure with how economy and things would be. But as far as my customers still needing support and being one of the few people that is a true expert at what I do in the area, I'm still around to help people out. So enjoying life there. Gaming, excited for a lot of things coming out. I kind of mostly finished my playthrough of Claire Obscure. I have a couple like side quests and things I'll go back and do, but I've been jumping back into replaying Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I saw you.
And feel like I've heard when people rate all the Assassin's Creed games, like Valhalla, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like as high up. Like some people said they didn't like it. But I don't get that because I played a lot of the games recently. Odyssey, Black Flag, of course I played Shadows. Valhalla is pretty refreshing to me. I think it has a lot of the best. The weapon stuff's a little too basic, I guess, but other than that, it seems very like a good game overall. So I'm really enjoying my playthrough of Valhalla.
Very nice.
And
speaking of which,
TV, I've been watching some more Andor. It's fine. The story's good, sure, but I still get a little bored here and there.
Okay, it gets better. I'm not going to sell you anymore on it.
Don't need. It's not impressive if a show gets better after a season. I need it to be good right away.
I'm just an old school Star Wars guy, and I'm just eating this stuff up because
I need there to be more Empire stuff, more tech.
Wait till you get to
I mean, maybe in season 2 there'll be more, but
make it to the jailbreak episode, and I'm telling you, you'll love that part.
Okay, but again, if one episode's good out of a whole season, I want more.
I know.
You're on season 1, Kingsley?
Yeah, he's new to it.
Yeah. Okay. I will say, as an independent opinion here, I do think it's one of the better Star Wars franchises, hands down. And I let it slip my memory that Andor is a prequel to Rogue One.
Yes. Literally.
And so watching through season 2, it's like, okay, this is it. They did it right. They didn't give it the Boba Fett treatment.
No.
And I would put it above Mandalorians personally.
See, that's not even the thing with me, and I appreciate that, and I know that to be true. And again, I'm saying the story is good. I admit that, but I'm not the biggest Star Wars fans, other than what I want in Star Wars is I want to be more on the Empire side, believe it or not. I don't care about the Rebels story. I want to be seeing the tech on the bases and the ships, like 80% of a show. I want to be like, weapons, this and that. Like, I don't want like 5 episodes of a dude running around trying to find a way off the planet. You know what I mean? Like, so, whatever. It's a good show. I'm not saying it's bad, but I kind of knew just watching some previews and trailers and from other people, like it may not be the show for me, but it's a good show. It's a good show.
It's it literally runs right into. I mean, you literally can go to see Rogue One after the last episode of season 2 because that is the last season.
Even Rogue One was like just fine for me because I'd prefer a movie that was like Rogue One on the Empire side where they win or something.
What really impressed me about Andor was how meticulous the systems they had in place for the Empire was. It was impressive. With the what was it the FBI.
Why do all the dudes have to have like Scottish accents or whatever the hell?
I have no clue. I mean, there's a lot of English actors that do,
I mean, nothing offense to that either, but like it almost doesn't make me take it seriously.
Yeah.
Like I would, you kind of. I'm not trying to stereotype here, but I'd feel better if they had like German or American accents, but like the accents that they have, they don't seem very intimidating to me.
Yeah.
So you want a movie about a German empire is what you're saying?
He hasn't met
Sure. Not that I agree with that, but I want to see the tech of the bad guys, like how they came up and they're winning for a while. I know that sounds weird, but let's put it this way.
First, you take a whole bunch of tanks and run them through Belgium around the Maginot Line. Then straight on to Paris.
Yes.
But when I always watched the movies back in the day, I was bored of just like Luke running around talking to Yoda, but all the cool stuff was in like the Death Star and the Star Destroyers and stuff like that. So that's what I want to see.
Guys,
is all the tech.
He hasn't met Dedra yet. Once he meets Dedra, he'll understand. She's a cold bitch.
I understand what he's saying, and I understand what is ahead of him in the seasons, and I am just sitting here quietly because I said my piece. I also very much think Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars movies ever made, so
Absolutely.
We have a different view of opinions, and I'm not trying to force the man into anything he doesn't want to see.
Look, and that's the thing, like I'm chill about it. I'm still watching it slowly. But by the time I finish season 2, I really doubt I'm going to be like, everyone was right, I was wrong. But like, I'm sure if there's more tech that eventually comes, I'll be like, that's nice. I wish there was more at the beginning too. So
he definitely wants to see a lot of tech. I mean,
Mhm.
I've watched every episode twice, season 1 and season 2, and I, as we talked about last
like
week,
so
when Sin was
far,
on,
my favorite part is the little robot sidekick dude. I forget its name.
BB1. No, BB1.
No. Not BB1.
The red robot.
Yeah,
The red robot,
I
right?
can't remember his name.
That red robot has some good tech to it, the way it moves, and you can kind of tell emotions.
Has like a
from it
charging
and stuff,
station
and-
it goes into, like your Roomba does at home. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Anyways,
all right. Well,
Dude,
and
the robot at the end of season 2 is even better than the red robot. And the red robot's cool.
Oh, nice.
I like the red robot, and I like the personality that they gave the red robot. Absolutely. But I really appreciate the comedic timing of the robot to come.
oh, good. That'll be cool.
If your robot's not telling you to bite my shiny metal ass, I don't want to hear about it.
yeah. All right, guys. I'll
Right?
I'll Venmo you guys afterwards. Thanks for selling it for me.
You know, that's what R2D2's little beeps were all the time. He's like, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, dude is hanging out with Leia like in the 70s. I would have been beeping too.
I would have been beeping.
There's a lot of
C2
cocaine
is
going
just
through Carrie Fisher in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
I understand all the risks at play and my position in the whole thing, but I still would like to participate.
Nice.
What else you been up to, man? Sorry.
And then I saw the movie Friendship.
Yes.
I was looking forward to that movie. I liked it, but I didn't love it because they had too much of a mix of, I would say the movie was 80% awkward and bombastic,
Yes.
and 20% humor.
Yep.
And the way they marketed the movie was dark humor, crazy things happen. I get that. I like bombastic. I like dark humor. I like awkwardness. But there wasn't enough humor mixed in to kind of laugh enough to get past those things. I was reading a lot of reviews of people, like some people were saying like they were laughing out loud the whole movie. I'm like, I don't really get that, because are you laughing out loud during the awkward parts? You're supposed to sit there awkward along with them and feel the awkwardness.
The theater was quiet in those parts. Trust me, was no laughing.
Yeah, and that's fine. Again, I appreciate, because a lot of movies don't go awkward or bombastic enough. However, I just thought the mix was off, but that's okay. I love my A24 movies. It was worth checking it out. I think I'm still glad I saw it in the theater. I guess if I told friends about it, maybe check for that one on streaming instead of the theater. That's about it.
Yeah,
I'll pass over to you.
Well, let's just get gaming out of the way, because I didn't do a whole lot last week. Kingsley and I did actually what we talked about. We actually started playing Baldur's Gate 3. I actually streamed it this last Saturday night, and it was probably one of the most boring streams, as we were both trying to figure out all the interface. Peeps were trying to help us in the chat, but we really wanted to learn it. I got to tell you, this game is very dense, and I imagine it runs deep in progression and build crafting. And I selected a Druid Wood Elf, as it had great strengths in manipulating animals. I'm a nature guy, so I want to use my spells and magic and make animals kill people and stuff like that. So I think it was
You're
a perfect character.
professional exterminator, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
You're a nature guy, and that you want it to not exist anymore.
I'm serious. And it sounds, I know. Believe me, people always say, you're a nature guy. I'm like, yeah, I just want to take care of the insects that are in man-made areas. I want to protect nature from all the people, intermittently just treating stuff and killing all our wildlife. I'm fully trained not to hurt wildlife and yet control your problems. That's where that's where my kind of philosophy is in my job and how I can do it. But I did see, the turn-based battles were a little clunky, I thought, but keep in mind that Kingsley and I play shooter games, and this was just totally new to us. I do wish their hint system, and I think Kingsley agrees here, their hint system was a little bit better, but I think I'm gonna be putting this one on the back seat for now, because I want to play before the new Destiny content comes out. I want to play Borderlands 3, and I want to finish Elden Ring, because Elden Ring Night Rain is already out. No.
Do Clair Obscure instead of Elden Ring.
Yeah, my son just got it too, and I've actually watched some gameplay of it, and the parry systems and stuff look really, really fun. It reminds me of Heroes of Might and Magic. I get a lot of Heroes of Might and Magic back, from those days I played that, but there's just too many damn games to play. But for Destiny, it's been a light week for me. I did, mainly because I'm prepping for my UK trip in about 2.5 weeks. I did manage to play some Monday Night Iron Banner with the community. Overall, it wasn't too bad. It's Iron Banner. You got to embrace the chaos, as someone told me a long time ago. I streamed it that night. So if you want to watch the replay and watch this old guy struggle, it's on my YouTube and Twitch channels on the replays. So, yes, we did mention Expedition 33, Elmerfud.
Oh,
everybody
you have no idea. It'll be mentioned a lot tonight.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, that's part of one of our topics tonight. Hint, hint. But entertainment wise, this is where a bulk of my week was. I as I mentioned, I saw the Friendship movie at the AMC. Me using my AMC Stubs A-List membership, which allows you to see 4 movies a week now. Not that I would ever need to see 4 weeks, but 4 movies in a week. But I have to agree, pretty much. I put 40% comedy, 60% awkwardness. Rotten Tomatoes had it at 89.74, so the audience kind of agrees with me. It was a little lukewarm as far as that goes. But I forgot how awkward Tim Robinson's style was when I Think You Should Leave, when he did that series on, I think it was on Netflix. It was very awkward kind of comedy. So my wife loved it, but I was just lukewarm to it. I give it 3.5 stars. It's good, but not great. The second film is probably one of the best movies I've seen so far in 2025. And it's been a long time since an action movie has actually kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. And this film delivered it, man. I'm talking about the new Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 89. Full disclosure, I did see the previous Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning back in summer of 2023. So it's been a couple of years. I've watched every Mission Impossible film going back to 1996 where I saw the original one. And it's right there with Bond films for me as far as what they give you, that ride along feeling when you're kind of like right there in the action. The film takes place in several areas around the world, and the situation is getting dire as the world is becoming overwhelmed by a rogue AI program that has infiltrated all parts of the government and at one point gains control of nearly all the nuclear weapons on Earth. That's all I'm going to share. It's very riveting. It grabs you by the throat and does not let go. Again, one of my top 10 for the year so far. I give this one 4.5 stars. Fantastic movie. I do recommend that you watch Dead Reckoning, the movie in 2023, if you want to get some overview of kind of how the plot develops in Final Reckoning. It's not necessary, but it'll definitely make you appreciate the movie more. It's a great start to summer, man, because there's some really good stuff coming out. A couple streaming shows I want to mention. I did watch 0 Day starring Robert De Niro. It's a 6-episode, probably about 50 minutes each on Netflix. Very similar to the Final Reckoning film. It's about people that are hacking America's infrastructure and how America gets kind of panicky and stuff. It's kind of a little scary. I have to admit, I didn't really see it coming as far as how it ended. 4 stars, great show. And this is a hilarious but very raunchy comedy series out from the mind of Tom Segura. And think of Black Mirror met a sick-minded Segura, and he has a sick mind. The last episode, it had me rolling on the floor. I kid you not. If you can get past the crazy sick mind of Tom, you will love this comedy series. It's called Bad Thoughts on Netflix. 4 stars for that one. And another streaming show I just saw, the finale on Apple last night was Your Friends and Neighbors, starring John Hamm. It's about a guy who has everything. He lives in the richest of neighborhoods, fancy cars, you name it, but he loses sight of what really matters to him, and that's his family. During this time, he gets fired from his job. He's accused of murder. His whole life unravels. And this is kind of the story of going through all that bullshit. And the ending was fantastic. I give this one 4 stars. I'm 2 episodes into Last of Us, and it has not disappointed. I love that this show kind of follows the story exactly how the first and second games played out. But I'll comment more on that one as I get more into it. It's a Mrs. Gator and I film, so we're we're watching it as we have time to see it. So that's it for me. I tell you what, let's get right in to our topics, and we'll do that right after this.
Hey Guardians, I'm currently freezing my butt off because Gator has the thermostat too low, but you're listening to Guardians Downcast.
You're listening to what?
You heard me.
No, it's Guardian Downcast. Do I have to be jealous
I
again?
know.
I'm over this. Cut.
We're going to make this edit as hard as we can for you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for talking into my beginning edit. Fluffy knows what I'm talking about. No, let's start off tonight because we got so much to talk about, and I don't want to go. I don't want to keep you guys too long here, but we got so many things to talk about. I definitely wanted to catch up with you guys because it's been too long, man. It's been too long, and we do need to mention the TWAB briefly tonight as well. So, but our first topic tonight, FluffyFingersMD, you're on deck. What do you got for us tonight, man? What's your topic?
Geez.
Yeah, right to you, man.
The pressure.
I figured it'd be a great lead in because we've had so much talk about this in the Discord that,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to copy and paste this actually to my notepad.
Yep.
My camera is very wide angle.
Okay. So my topic, so I really loved my time in Destiny, and I've made lifelong friends and done so many rad things because of this video game. But I just don't play it anymore. Like Rob said, like September, October was probably the last time I really was like, hey, I'm going to spend a couple hours doing this. So with the talk of Marathon, I was like, okay, I'm absolutely gonna be interested in something that Bungie makes that is PvP because I loved Halo 1 multiplayer, like just playing deathmatch like so much, and I love Call of Duty games and I love Destiny PvP, and so I was like, cool, man, like besides Call of Duty, Bungie has a good history with PvP, so I'm like, Marathon's gonna be rad. And then I just hasn't pulled me in, like it isn't there for me, but I've been tracking like the news on it and everything. So the algorithm feeds me news, and I saw that our developer that kills it in the PvP region and just gun feel and gameplay and everything has been in trouble for the fourth time in a very short period of time for stealing art. And so I wanted to like look at just the problem and talk about it a little bit, because I think it's really easy to say like to blame Bungie without actually like talking about what's going on and what's causing this and why is this a Bungie thing and not an everywhere in the industry thing, you know?
Yeah.
And like people copyright art all the time. You know, there's third world countries that will take your creations off the internet and print the exact same T-shirt that you created, you know, or sell whatever, or just take art that you post and clone your post on Reddit or social media or whatever just for likes and clicks, right? So it's not like stealing art is new, but it's different when you steal someone's art and you're a giant corporation and you don't give the person any money or compensation for it. And especially it seems like, you know, at least with this last Marathon one, it was a pretty large aesthetic of what the game looked like. It wasn't like some previous ones where it's been like, okay, this thing you're releasing in the store or this small part of your expansion has art that obviously someone took from someone else. Right. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess to start, maybe just on a base level before we get into this, like, how do you guys feel right now? Like, who do you blame personally for stealing this art? Do you blame Bungie right now? Or do you feel like it's more just they happen to hire some artists that steal art and, you know, it's more the artist thing and it's coincidence that this seems to be a Bungie problem recently?
I mean, which I'm in.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to answer the question, but I don't know that I have an opinion. I don't even know that really ultimately matters because the company needs to take the responsibility ultimately.
Yep. Well, that's very. I do believe
That's where I
that
lean
you're
too.
correct
Whether
there.
it's a rogue person or not, right? You put out the beta. Was it alpha? Was it the alpha that they closed beta? I'm not sure which they were actually calling it, and it became obvious within a weekend that this was clearly somebody's stolen art, and it's like, if it's obvious for folks there, somebody needs to be aware of it, and if not, aware of it, then somebody needs to actually go through and have a talk about this, because, like I said, it's not, like Fluffy said, it's not the first time, right?
Right.
You can't be an accident, and some of it was like second party things, like the Nerf thing was Nerf doing something. So when you say 4 times, right, it's not necessarily the same thing all 4 times, but it's enough that, like, after the first time, you need to be a little more vigilant about it, and they just choose not to be.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, go ahead, Todd.
Well, you asked what our initial. I'm just going to start off there. My initial thing is I basically shook my head and I just was like, not again. I mean, you think they would have gotten this fixed by now, at least have some control measures put in place. And I guess as I stand right now, I have questions. And you have questions, I imagine, Fluffy, so I'll let you continue.
So I think I agree with everyone I think we're all on the same page that regardless of who's at fault or why it happened, Bungie just needs to own up and make the situation right because they're a giant company and it's their game that the stuff is on, right? And that's part of being an employer is owning up for whatever your employees do. And I think there's a lot of other factors too that go into it, but I like that I like what you guys said with that. Okay, so then looking into Bungie itself, do you feel like it is a coincidence that this has happened 3 times, let's say 3 times recently with their games? Mm-hmm. Or do you think it is more of a industry thing or potentially like an age thing or a work ethic thing or a laziness thing? Like, where do you guys stand on? I guess I don't know. We're just guessing here, but what do you guys feel like could maybe be going on here? Do you feel like it's a work environment thing, or do you feel like it's just other stuff?
Go ahead, AdmiralNips.
I think it's a time thing. I think it's they have a date that they need to do, and they are trying to do a whole new aesthetic. So they bring in artists and stuff like Gunplay Field is a Bungie thing, right? They know how to do the art direction. They're going somewhere completely different than Halo or Destiny or anything like that. And I think people found assets that thought they would look cool and put it in there, and then nobody questioned it. And before you knew it, you were releasing stuff that was very clearly somebody else's stuff.
Yeah, and as we're talking through this more, kind of like what I said, but also for separate points, I don't know if we're going to get into higher level discussions tonight, but a lot of people are kind of agreeing that Bungie leadership in general has some major issues. So should a company this size, should they have already had, or do you only see this in the larger companies like the Ubisoft and the Activision? Maybe, but I still feel like a company this size should have had processes in place that review art every step along the way to make sure it's legit, things like that. So maybe it's cutting corners from higher up management. Like, oh, well, we don't need to do full reviews. We don't need to check this, check that, regardless of the excuse of should they have. And I think I heard with the latest one, they are going to have a much more major process review management in place now, obviously. That's like the after the fact saying,
yeah.
But they probably should have had that already in place.
See, the questions I have. Go ahead, follow up with that question.
Just real quick on that, on a comment on that. Do you think it's even possible though to review if someone's stolen someone else's idea because like there's with digital art and the internet, there's like an infinite amount. Well, not obviously not infinite, right? But and not within the realms of a human or a workforce that you want to employ to be able to check if it's stolen, right?
Yeah.
See, that was my
No,
question.
it's a good point. You can't always, but there's still. Look, it wouldn't necessarily cut off every situation, but I just feel like something's happening where it's like, okay, do this real quick, and then maybe someone, best case scenario, somewhat unknowingly did it. Like maybe they felt like they saw that somewhere, but their brain forgot it. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
Or worst case, they legit copied it. And maybe, again, if there was just some kind of like review of like, well, your thoughts, tell us your thoughts of how and why you created this. And if they'd have to come up with a more written or verbal explanation of their basis behind it, then maybe something could have been found out along the way, like, oh, you're bullshitting us, or, you know what I mean? Or I don't know. You're right.
Yeah,
There's not going to be perfect in every situation, but.
Yeah, and I guess even if you did like a screen grab or a screen record, so you could actually see the creation of the asset, if they're looking at an asset, they could still just create it. Like they're artists. They can, they learned by drawing and copying things that they see, right? Like that's how drawing works, is you look at stuff and you're like, oh, that looks cool. And you try and draw it, you know? I do think we only see the cases where it's a very clear plagiarism, because those are the only ones close enough to make wind and have lawyers involved and PR stuff, you know.
But
and maybe that's laziness out of the artist, right? Like they aren't smart enough to know to slightly change their plagiarism.
Or they're just using AI to create their art, and the AI has learned off of all of the stuff that they love. Like,
but
you've taught me on this, so let me create this stuff for you. But this one is such a blatant, like, copy over, like, straight rip from the artist's site that, like, I wouldn't even put that one on AI. That's just people being dickheads.
And if it was just AI, in a way, they wouldn't have been in as much trouble, but or any trouble potentially. But it still probably is something with processes and leadership and management, because you feel like, how could if it was just the employee that did it at first, so blazingly think like it would not be found out, A, and B, maybe they were just feeling pressured by management to get something done quick. So they're like, I have to do this. If shit hits the fan later, I'm going to take that chance. Hopefully it won't. But I needed to get it done real quick. So again, maybe if there was a better like review in place of like, okay, we don't have to have this game out in 3 years or whatever, you know, and then they can have more talking along the way, like, what were the ideas of how you came up with this, versus like, you need to have something tomorrow, and then they feel under the gun, and then they hope they won't get caught.
See,
yeah, I think that's a totally separate major problem that accounts for most of the problems games have these days. Is the idiots running it are allowing shareholders and deadlines not to be flexible, and the focus is on profits more than it is on quality. And if it was less about the game release date is this day and we're meeting it no matter what, and it was more about, we hope to release it now, it's not ready yet, sorry, we aren't going to release it till it's ready, then you probably do get a lot less of everything, including people blatantly stealing art.
And one last thing, and I'll let Todd explain, but it goes very perfect to what you just said. Did you also see the supposed story that a lot of this probably is the fault of being bought out by Sony, because supposedly Sony said that people aren't getting their golden buyouts and their stock options unless Marathon comes out by sometime in 2026.
Right.
So that's probably why they had the fall 2025 deadline. And that sucks when you have leadership that says that, because then these things are more likely to happen, because, of course, top Bungie wants to have their stock options. So that's why we're kind of under a deadline right now.
See,
I mean, Okay, go. Sorry, Todd.
Sorry, I'm trying to let you guys talk. My ADHD is like, all right, remember this now. Remember this. Remember this one. Just to get this straight, from what I heard from Bungie, is that this was an artist that's no longer there. They put it on a inspiration board or an inspiration file or something. And my guess is they just didn't catch it, because I think Bungie has so many people moving in and out of the studio. I may be wrong, but I mean, gaming studios are very fluid these days, and especially Bungie, man, they've had some ups and downs. And don't get me wrong, I'm not an apologist. I'm not defending Bungie here, because it's stupid how this happened. It's embarrassing. And you could see the director of the game in that last live stream, you could see it in his eyes. He was just like frustrated. He's trying to get this game launched. He's trying to get it going. And then this black eye comes in. But how do you verify art? I mean, when we make t-shirts, I'll give my daughter some pictures, some Destiny pictures of my Guardian and stuff, and she will literally get a digital board and draw it, because she's an artist. She'll sit there and draw it. But how do you actually verify that art that was in that, that inspiration board from the artist is not even there anymore? How do you verify that stuff? Is there a certain program or something where you can run an image through? Because my God, AI is everywhere now. And you, just like, I think JD Kent said, AI is ripping stuff off all the time right now. So how do you actually verify it? Cause, I don't know what their process is. I'm sure they got a process now, but I really think this was just really the timing was just so bad for Marathon. So what do you think, Fluffy?
Hi, my name is Fluffy. I would like to say some things.
Okay.
Okay. Looping back to bonuses, like the story about bonuses, and it has to come out by a certain time. I have two takes on this. Yep. I think I am okay with the idea that your bonus, not your compensation, but that is above and beyond your agreed upon compensation, is tied to a release or a deadline. I don't think that is a bad thing. I think that is a business thing. You're getting extra money for doing either meeting expectations or exceeding expectations, right? That's the point of a bonus. Like, we're going to pay all of our employees the same. Our employees that do a great job get more money. Our employees that don't do a great job get the agreed upon money. I understand that. With that being said, if your goal is having the best product or customer experience, bonuses and deadlines both should have flexibility, because your goal is not the deadline. Your goal is the product or the customer experience. And so you should be smart enough to have flexibility to understand what the goal is, and then move that goalpost with, this is the new deadline. If we meet this, then the bonuses are tied to this deadline, because we understand that these, like, you obviously have to have the right circumstances, right? It isn't like we aren't meeting the deadline because people are incompetent. It's, we're not meeting the deadline because either the ask was not correct or we didn't have an understanding of the work. And if that is your case, or if unforeseen circumstances or bugs come up, then, like, be flexible with it.
Yeah. Be awesome if public companies didn't exist and have to do quarterly, board meetings and earnings reports.
But, like, loyalty has a value. Like, looking at the short term should also include looking at the long term. And, like, loyalty in your customer base is going to happen if you have a good customer experience and a good product. I mean, it's what kept Destiny alive for over a decade. But when you don't have that, then and you're only looking at quarterly profits, then I don't know, man. You lose that experience, you lose that product, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
It's true, but loyalty doesn't pay the dividends.
Well, we know recently that Sony pulled all marketing plans for Marathon. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but I smell delay coming. Hopefully not the C word, the cancellation. I'm hoping it's not that, because I would be irritated because half the studio is invested all their time into this game that they could have spent making some awesome Destiny 3 game, you know? And I'm irritated if Sony pulls the plug on this. I'm going to be irritated because such a poor use of capital and, you know, talent, you know, and to put everything into this game and then say, and then Sony gets scared and just say, no, we're not having another Concord moment. We're just going to cut this game before we even release it. That would be such a shame. So I mentioned a couple weeks ago that they need to create more of a PvE element in this game. I'm not getting off topic here. I'm just justifying why they should delay it. They need to make more of a PvE centric part of this game and not just a PvP extraction shooter, because you're only appealing to a tiny little percent of the game community. And I think if they do delay the game, that's what they need to integrate. And they have no hook. There's nothing that I saw in the alpha that said, oh man, that is awesome. Now, Arc Raiders, I watched that game and I was excited. I was watching that game. I was like, this looks like fun, man. Look at this interface, and you're collecting these weapons. You're getting this bounty done. Okay. Quest, whatever you want to call it. And you get this super, really, really strong shotgun that you can mod out. That I started really getting into it, but with the alpha stream on Marathon, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shit on the game. I know there's a lot of people that have played the alpha in our community who love the game. And I just think they need to let it cook more. They need to create a hook, and they need to have some kind of PvE element where people can practice to play the extraction shooter part of the game. Yeah.
But Todd, they can't add PvE with a normal delay. It would need like a full reboot, another year or two.
But here's the thing, Kingsley.
Add PvE
Arc Raiders was initially a PvE only game, and they changed it over the years to more of a PvP extraction.
I know. And it took several more years.
Yeah.
But there's no way like a 6-month delay is going to be able to add this PvE element in. So if they add this in, it needs to be a reboot. It needs to be another year or two development process.
I agree. It needs to be probably 2026, the end of 2026, instead of this summer. I just don't see it happening this summer.
But what if the shareholders just say it has to be done in 6 months?
Well,
then they'll just ship it like they do every other game in the industry. So
everybody in this whole show is going to hate me by the show.
Understand really how things work.
Yeah, I know.
And my thought is, I didn't necessarily love watching people play it, but
I heard it was fun.
On the flip side, everybody from Lulu and Fallout on the streamer side to Hammer Crasher in the Discords, everyone said it was really fun to play, like when they were in there playing it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Not
every game has to be for every person, and I know there's some level of, oh man, Bungie made a game, why am I not playing it? Right. Like FOMO action, but it could also just not be for you. And
that's very true.
That's totally okay too.
Kingsley keeps drilling that in my head. It may not be for you, man. Maybe it's not your game.
Yeah.
That's very true.
And even you, Fluffy, like it was always an extraction shooter. It was never supposed to be like a Halo type game,
Yeah.
No, but I like PvP in general. Like if I'm playing with friends, like I'll absolutely play Warzone. I'll absolutely play Fortnite. I want to play PvP with friends. So I don't care if it's like Rivals or if it's Call of Duty or, when I was playing Destiny for 15 years or however long I was playing Destiny,
longer than me.
No. I was a Taken King baby.
Oh, that's Kingsley. Taken Tot.
Yeah. Oh, was it really? I came in November, so I wasn't in a September release Taken King.
But I still think bigger picture, because I'm always good at looking at bigger picture. I don't know that they should have made this game as a type of extraction shooter to get enough people interested in the general market.
I think they got sucked into trends. They were trend chasing. I think they got sucked into it. If you're
asking me, when they were trimming all of the things that were Destiny, including mobile games and art and all the other stuff that they already threw away when they laid off like 900 or 1,000 people, they had a Destiny PvP only game that they were making.
Yes.
They could have scrapped Marathon and leaned into that, which is what people have been asking for. They were, because I think like if you go to other style games, they're releasing new maps and new characters or abilities or guns or whatever is unique to that type of shooter quarterly at the longest. Some games monthly or bi-monthly are releasing new content, you know? And so like people love playing Destiny Crucible. They just need more than 6 maps in 8 years.
Don't get me started. I will go down that hill. Let's keep this in mind though. Let's keep this in mind though. This is
4 hours later.
This is, yeah, exactly. This is the one thing that I think maybe we have not talked about yet as far as Marathon. The management team, top brass that was in place when they decided to make this game and they were impressed by these other extraction shooters is no longer there. So now, I can't remember the gentleman who's the game director now for Marathon. I apologize. I can't remember his name, but he had to come in and keep the boat floating and carry on with it. And that's when they decided not to go with a character-based system. They got away from all the, where you could create your own character. You know, you can add whatever, you know, they simplified the game a lot versus what I was expecting to see with that first trailer they put out, you know, with all the great gear they had on and stuff. So keep in mind that probably a lot of the top management that really wanted to make this game happen probably aren't there anymore. So we have what's left. People had to step in and make this game what it is. And unfortunately, I just don't feel good about it. I'll just leave it at that. Any other comments?
So really reeling it back to the subject, do you guys feel that Bungie has adequately compensated the artists that the art was taken from in Marathon?
They better.
Have they done their part as a company to make things right at this point?
Do we even know? Did they announce anything, what they were doing, or?
They mentioned that they were going to give him credit, and I don't know that I never heard anything about money, but
yeah. I thought it was vague, is what I thought, but
very corporate answer.
Yeah, the thing that I had seen was that the artist didn't have the money laying around to go after him legally. I mean, Bungie is probably going to do some. They've tried to do stuff with the previous situations where this has happened, but I haven't seen anything actually saying that they've compensated properly.
I bet they'll give them.
Didn't.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I bet they'll give him something like $100,000 and try to call that good or something. You know, I don't know.
I wouldn't say.
Well,
I mean,
I'm that'd be dope
10 or 15 grand.
If they, that'd be dope if they did $100,000. I don't think when this happened before, they did not come out and say that they were going to compensate the artist until the public had been, or the community had been making a really big deal about it. Yeah. And it was weeks before they came out and they said, "Oh, we're totally giving them money." Yeah, that was always our plan, guys. You know, so yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. Really.
I would hope the artist still. I'm sure he had to. Yeah, exactly. Any JD can't beat me to it. Any settlement is probably going to have an NDA attached to it, so we'll probably never know. And I would say for the artist. For the artist, they would probably want to keep everybody stay tuned and social media that he told everybody about, but he's probably under an NDA now. He probably had to sign that in order to get some kind of compensation. Yeah.
See, but that's messed up because we stole your art, sign this NDA.
If you want to give credit and pay, they'll probably say something like, you know, this is standard, or lawyer probably say this is standard, you know, standard operating procedure.
Yeah, dude. See, it's one thing if you're willingly going into a situation with the company and you sign an NDA. If they hire you for a job and they want to do an NDA, that's cool.
Right.
But like being like, we stole your shit, sign this NDA, like that's not taking ownership.
I can bet that even though the person didn't have the money or ability to do legal proceedings, I bet someone would be willing to represent them for free now because it's a big story now. So, maybe they will.
I did want to say, I went and looked because I was pretty sure, but confirmed the artist was a woman, so she didn't have the money to do it, and it was her artwork that was stolen.
Yes.
Just going through, making sure we get that right, but.
Wait, women can do art?
Duh. Who does my
It's like at least the 1860s.
I feel very embarrassed, guys. I need like 5 minutes to go talk to my daughters. I have been wrong this whole time.
Hey, who drew this art? I want to know who drew this art.
Georgia O'Keeffe? Nope, then not enough vaginas. It's not Georgia O'Keeffe.
My entire wall is my daughter's art.
That's awesome.
Projects over the years. So
my daughter's an artist too.
Jokes aside, I had to give Nips a hard time because he was trying to be correct, and it's my job to anti that.
All right, I hate to
be anti-correct.
I hate to cut it short, but I am looking at the clock. I want to make sure everybody gets equal billing here and their topics.
I don't need equal time. I can do mine quick.
Oh, whatever. But thank you, Fluffy, for bringing that topic tonight. I know you put a lot of work and time in that, and it was definitely a hot topic. That's why we didn't comment much about it last week, because we knew you were going to be talking about it this week. So,
I put so much work and time into it. I actually have 8 more bullet points I would like to go over.
Okay, no, please.
Send me your PowerPoint presentation later. I'll look over it.
Exactly. Don't worry.
Yeah, we haven't even looked at any of my visuals or graphs yet.
You're not. Wait till you get to my topic. It's going to be a freaking topic.
That's what it is. Todd's is going to go too
long.
I'm
going to do it all. I'm going to do it. I'm going to compensate for everybody's stuff tonight. So, okay, we will get to our next topic right after this.
Hey, this is Heyoka, and when I'm not squishing Thrall, I'm listening to Guardian Downcast.
Okay, for our second topic tonight, it's Mr. Kingsley Mack. What you got on your mind tonight, Kingsley?
Yeah, spoiler, like we said earlier, there's going to be a fair amount of talk tonight about the amazing game Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And in sake of time, and I didn't probably have too much to talk about anyways, I kind of wanted to give like more of a review of it, even though I have in the past, but I'll shorten that a little bit. But then I have some interesting discussion points on how this game is a very, very relevant discussion point these days on how a good game can be made for less money and lower cost for selling too, and what that right mix is maybe for games going forward in the future. Now, I've said this for a few weeks, and a lot of people have said this. This game is freaking amazing. It's had like the highest score of any game ever on Metacritic for user reviews. I think it was like 9.7, and then like the next highest game was 9.3. It's like something is showing you there, even if you haven't tried this game. This is an amazing game. I went into it very skeptically because I did a little bit of Final Fantasy back in the day, JRPG, turn-based thing. I'm like, that's not really for me. However, I went into this game, and there's reasons why it got me hooked, but I got hooked within like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, this will work for me. Now, a lot of it has to do with I was a little more bored with the original graphics of those older Final Fantasy games. So for me, graphics and interaction is much more important. And so now in this game, even though it's turn-based, it still feels very live and action-packed. You can do live shooting, live dodging and parrying. And yes, you do your turns on your different abilities and cards. So I think it's kind of helped that we're in a point today where this game is a lot more interactive, which got me hooked. Of course, the music's good. We'll talk more about that later. Everything about the game is so cool. It is I think people lean into this too much. Yes, it's by a French studio, but they say it's a Frenchy version of a JRPG. I mean, this game is way more Americanized. I think even though it's French, it looks closer to what it's more like if you're not into like different cultures or whatever, but like you can, I think it's just more easy to get into, even if you're not into like that Japanese anime style or whatever. So even though they say it's French, that doesn't really mean anything to me other than the accents that sometimes come through or just some of the characters or where it takes place in the game, kind of.
Or fighting the mimes.
The mimes is probably the biggest part. That's hilarious.
Dude, my My wife walked in when I was fighting a mime yesterday, and she's like, "Oh, I don't like the look of that character."
They're kind of freaky looking.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
With their crazy smile, and they make the wall.
Yeah, and they're the fact that their weapons are invisible, like Predator invisible, so like you can see them, but they're clear, see through, is amazing, right? Because it's a mime, so its weapons should not be real and tangible. And
Yeah, that's true.
It's great. It's great.
Mime magical powers, but
Yeah.
I can't believe how much I got into the game, and I still generally prefer just a action adventure open world type game like Assassin's Creed or something. But this game has a very special place in my heart. I went through it very quickly and highly, 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 highly recommend it. Everyone needs to try it out. $50, or you can get it on Game Pass. So that kind of shows us too that it's very easy to get into it. You can buy a month of Game Pass on PC. Or is it on Xbox Game Pass also? Or do you know, guys? Or
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is.
And I did exactly what you said. I was going to buy the game, and Fudd was like, "Just get Game Pass," and I was like, "Oh, PC Game Pass is $11 a month, no brainer." My kids can just go download all the games they want.
Right.
Yeah, there have been some really good games on. I don't have an Xbox, but I have the PC Game Pass, and well worth it because there's been some great games lately. And so this game, as of its latest numbers, has sold 3.3 million copies. Now, we don't know if that's all the $50 versions, but even Game Pass copies, they do get a cut. They do get some money, of course, from Microsoft. I don't know if it's probably not $50, of course, per seat. But 3.3 million copies. So I was doing the math, and I know again that may be including the Game Pass versions too. But assuming it wasn't, 3.3 million times $50, they made $165 million so far.
You know what the budget was to make it?
Well, I'm going to get to that too. Actually,
ahead of myself.
No worries. Yeah, that's kind of my topic. Is this is a wild card out of nowhere because there's been a lot of discussion lately about game prices and this and that and studio sizes, and this just comes out of nowhere and blows everyone away. As far as how much to make it, there's no one really knows, but there is a newer article that came out recently where the publisher says fans would never guess the RPG's budget, and now they are still keeping it a secret. However, he said it's less than some games I don't even really know these games as much, but it's less than games like Mirror's Edge and Vanquish. Those games cost more. And someone did an estimate of how much. Yeah, what were you going to say?
I said Mirror's Edge was such a good game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And enjoyed both of those games too.
And official budgets for those haven't been released either, but a research group ballparked that the cost of making one of those games maybe costs 18 million to maybe 25 million. So they're saying it was less than that. So let's just say 5 to 15 million, probably more.
It's not bad at all.
I really doubt it's as low as 5 million, but maybe.
It's a big winner.
Yeah, and they've already made 165 million.
And I don't remember this game ever getting any kind of marketing. It just appeared, right?
Well, it's an indie developer, right?
That's right.
Yes.
There is no marketing.
That's true.
Yes.
No marketing budgets.
So on that point, this studio only has about 33 full-time people that worked on the game. Now, to be fair, there's about 100 or so other people. There's always if you look at the credits, there's contractors. There's the composer people. I don't know if they were counted as a full-time person or not, but in the actual game studio, 33 people were working on this game with about 100 other contractors doing things for the game.
Right.
It did take a while to make the game, so that's one thing about it. But it shows that this game was priced perfectly. They were able to get into Game Pass, which again is pretty amazing that they were able to do this. I guess I should have looked up how did Microsoft allow. I mean, they must have seen the game and saw how good it was, but they do have indie games in the store, of course.
They do a lot. Like there's a pretty fair amount when we were it was fun that Fluffy and I just talked with Cliff yesterday because he's sort of our go-to person for playing games on Game Pass and telling us when games are good or not. And he's got a fair number of indie games that come through every time we talk to him. There's like, you should be trying this out. So I think Game Pass does a pretty good job of finding pretty interesting indie games to put on there as well.
Yeah. So the discussion point I'll get to, I'm closing up here, is how can other games move to this way? Because there's a lot of talk about like AAA games and large studios getting bloated and then sometimes making games that people don't like as much, and so they think it's not worth the price. There's a lot of people, the developer here of Sandfall, but also a Sony previous boss, which I'll get to in a second, were saying similar things, that there's a lot of irresponsible practices in the industry these days. Some games can make it work. They think like Grand Theft Auto 6 is one that's going to make it work. But there's a lot of other AAA games and things that have come out recently where it's either people feel like it cost too much for what the game was, or just it wasn't totally worth it. This former PlayStation boss says that gaming price hikes are inevitable, but lack of value is the real issue. So I know there's a lot of discussion too of like, are $80 games too much? I mean, I think that's missing the point. We had $80 games even in the 90s, right? And a game these days would be more like $160 with inflation costs. So it's not so much that games should never be $80, $100. It's just how much value are you getting from that game? And there's more and more games that are coming out at these higher costs where people are feeling like it's not worth the value. So I don't know necessarily that we need to have a discussion that $80 and $100 is never a price that games should be reaching these days. But I do think there's a market for a lot of these $50, $40 games and smaller studios to do things well. I think this is really going to be a wake-up call for the larger studios, unfortunately, where I don't want to see more people fired. The thing that sucks is like when people overhire, and a lot of that was going on during COVID, and then people get fired. Like, man, they should have never hired those people in the first place. But also just, come up with a plan to make a good game take longer, kind of like back on our previous discussion. Don't have the deadlines, push them again if you need, and then do that. I mean, it's easy for people to say like, yeah, let's just have smaller studios, $50 games. But then again, this game did take 10 years-ish to make. And we can't have that with live service games. So I do still think large studios need to be out there for live service games. But it's an interesting point. So what do y'all think?
Real quick on the Claire Obscura thing that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. You were saying like it is turn-based, but it feels live action. One thing too about it being turn-based is like, you can play the game in so many ways where you insert yourself in to attack more, or jump in front of a boss and attack more, or play twice.
Live shooting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, I just wanted to highlight that like, it really is, even though it's turn-based, like there's a lot of builds and stuff you can do to really manipulate that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let someone else go on price per game.
You guys could talk about whatever, but I am curious on, do we think how we think game prices should be, studio sizes, and how long games need to take to come out? And do you hope we can get more games like this? Obscure. Of course, Todd hasn't tried it, but as you can see, it's sold very well, 3.3 million copies.
I was just playing some footage of it on stream so people can get a look at what we're talking about here. I'm sure a lot of people out there have played it. Amazing Taco King did say it was on Xbox Showcase twice. It's a huge success because it's indie development with Microsoft funding backing it. So, okay, good point. And he also said too many investment promises that need to be paid back is the main issue. It makes studios play it safe instead of risking. Dude, the movie theater's been doing this. The movie studio's been doing this forever. They're afraid to make a new style of movie. It's all about the sequels, right? So, and Jimmy Kent said, if game prices go up, I want to see less microtransactions. They said, those were put in place to offset price increases. So
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm probably not the person to ask about $80 games because I'm the person that can afford the video game, the expensive video games. But if there's a service like Game Pass that's supporting a subscription model, I think as long as the payout, and like my son said, Cam Delmy said, might be looking up what the payout structure is for Game Pass. I don't think you're going to find that anywhere. I think that's internal. I don't think Microsoft is going to tell your Game Pass members.
Yeah, and every company is probably different too.
Yeah, exactly. But, so I didn't have a lot to say on this because I haven't played a lot, but I'm just listening. I'm curious what you guys have to say.
Yeah, I know I had a couple different points there, so no worries if I was too across the board. But I think definitely it was a good price that they did for it, and I'm impressed with what they were able to do with that small of a studio.
That's amazing.
I don't think we should be getting rid of all large studios, but I think people are really realizing here and admitting that, and the studios are admitting, that's what I'm saying, like, because the former PlayStation boss said this and the Sandfall publisher said this, which makes Claire Obscure, that AAA studios are going to, the reckoning has been coming, especially with this game and everything, and they're going to see what can be done to make games more worth it. And I'm also a little bit worried if live service games are going to be going away more and more. And the whole, of course, Destiny thing is something that I always wish they could have more content. Sure. Destiny, I feel like the main reason why, my main qualm is they just don't have enough content. And, like, how are you going to get more unless you have like a huge studio when you're talking live service? But
you've got to be cranking out. I mean, you have to have an army of people creating stuff all the time. Not to mention Bungie's studio, they're using old engines and stuff that they've been using forever. They're not trying any kind of new engines. I don't even know if they're using AI to even do any kind of coding or anything now. But, they have less studio to work with now. And I just don't know if they can keep up because we as Destiny players, we're voracious. We gobble up anything they put out within weeks.
But it's not even just that. If you look at like games like Assassin's Creed or like Claire Obscure, there is more content to do there than even Final Shape's content. People forget that only play Destiny. Now, of course, when those games are done, they're done. But also in Destiny, I'm kind of done too when the PvE content's done. I don't like doing the homework things in Destiny. Yeah. So I always just need more content in Destiny also. But yeah.
Yeah. Nips, you have anything to say on that?
That's okay if no other comments, but I love the game. It's amazing.
Yeah. You're muted. You're muted, Nips.
Oh, I was saying, I think Nips was going to say something. That was really funny. You want me to go first?
I don't care.
Well, you had raised your hand to go for it, and then you had your mic.
He was doing finger guns at me. So
I was like, go, because you were like, go, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll save my spot.
I wrote down what I was going to say, so I didn't forget it.
That's what I do.
Okay, so you said on the topic of if games get too expensive, are we okay with game prices going up? And I think that there's two aspects that are going to impact that. And I think one is if games start becoming like $100-$120, I think people are just going to do Game Pass. Because why would I spend $120 on a game when I can spend $11.99 a month? And there's probably a game on there that all my friends can also play because they also have Game Pass.
Right.
As well, like, if AAAs decide to start selling games at $80, $90, $100, and I'm saying base games, not collector's editions, because then you're getting something else along with the price tag, right? But base games start at $100 or $80 or whatever. Those are just the AAA games. Like, there's other games on Steam or Epic or whatever your launcher is on PC that will still be cheaper. Like, there'll still be indie games that are less expensive. But then at the same time, games like GTA, games like Call of Duty are going to fetch whatever price tag they put on it. So I think some games, because of loyalty, again, as long as the product is a good experience and people enjoy the game and you're putting out good content, they're going to jump on those Call of Duties and stuff. But new titles may struggle more at a higher price when people are like, well, why would I buy Marathon when, assuming like Marathon and Rivals came out at the same time, right? Why would I pay for Marathon when all my friends can play Rivals for free with me?
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Nips.
I don't know. I think. Go ahead.
And on that real quick, I was going to mention this, so thanks for reminding me. I kind of feel like free to play games have caused problems in the industry. I know it's good to have, but they've gotten people to expect game prices to be lower and lower. And I want to be fair here. Yes, a lot of games have gotten too expensive for what they bring out, but at the same time, it's kind of unfair for people to think games need to be like less than 50, 40 if they don't want to have a free-to-play model with microtransactions and everything like that. So, because again, there were games that came out in the 90s that were even $80. So the pricing thing is interesting. I'm very nuanced about it. Like, it just really depends on how good the game is. I don't think we should be expecting that everything's free with microtransactions. So that's why I like Game Pass as another option versus free-to-play games only coming out. And I don't mind paying $50 to $100 too if the game's worth it.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah.
Anyone
When it
else?
comes to game pricing, for me, we can have all the different flavors of the rainbow. It comes down to if you're a AAA game and you put this, you're cutting edge and you're creating something that's going to give people $100 worth of value, that's great. I think the nice part about like Claire Obscure is for a $50 game or Game Pass game, if you want to go that way, but I spent the $50 on it. You definitely get your money's worth if you can play a game like that. But again, on the same time, you have to know yourself as well. I think a lot of that is sort of a personal thing, right? I know if I have a JRPG in front of me, I'm going to get my money's worth. I will grind through every last thing I can grind through and get there. If you're not sure about it, then it's a little bit tougher to justify spending $50 and then play for 2 minutes and be like, this game is not for me. And that's where I think free-to-play games are great for folks who are, don't know themselves that way. So it's one of those ones that, you got to just sort of know yourself in addition to, and obviously that's not how companies work, right? But what are you going to do? Put out your games for the price. If it's good and there's a market for it, you'll get paid off. If not, you might be a little Ubisoft Montreal situation.
Yeah. Well, I'm basically done with my topic, unless you had anything else to add there,
No,
Todd.
I don't really have much to add on this one because I have limited knowledge and I'd rather not, sound ignorant saying things I don't know. I
was going to say,
yeah,
I had more to talk about in terms of AAA, AA type games because I feel like not just game pricing, but I feel like there's a lot of really good AA or even less than AA games out there that come out that you can have fun with. Yeah. I still look back fondly to Greedfall, which is a game that didn't get a lot of play when it came out in 2019. But it did well enough for them to, Greedfall 2 is coming in the near future. And it had sort of the same feelings as a lot of AAA games. It's just the world was a little bit less empty, or a little bit more empty, right? Mm-hmm. The streets didn't have as many people on them. There were fewer, just random people standing around. Sort of that cyberpunk at launch feel where every third person was the same character model. But I feel like there's a spot for all of these different games. And sometimes I feel like people who play games are a little bit on the side of, this has to be exactly in this wheelhouse, and if it's not there, I'm not going to like it. Which is, again, totally your prerogative. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But there's way too many people who are like, I don't like it, and therefore it sucks. And that part always gets me a little bit, because not everybody likes the same thing. Yeah. Some people love Boba Fett. Other people like Fluffy are like, oh my God, they busted out the Vespas. I'm out of here.
That was pretty bad. I admit that was pretty bad. I don't know who put that in there, but that did not fit the theme of that show. Oh, Lord. That was bad. Okay. Well,
yeah, so I don't know. I think that's the thing I love about the game is it's just very... they did what they wanted to do, and they did it really well. And for that, they should be rewarded.
Even buy the game to support them. This would be one of the first times I've done that. That's how awesome I think they are. For the music alone, if somehow that can give a little bit more money to the composer and the musicians, holy fuck. But I did it on Game Pass, but I might just buy the game too.
I didn't know there was only 33 people making this game. It's a gorgeous game. My Lord. It's a fantastic looking game.
That was the fun part when you were talking about budget. I'm wondering how much of their actual budget for that game is just spent on voice actors, because they got an all-star cast to do the voices.
Very nice.
You know, starting at the top with Andy Serkis being the voice of Renoir.
Yeah, he was in it. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Kingsley, for that topic. We're going to take a small break here and get into This Week at Bungie, This Week in Destiny, whatever. It's going to be probably the fastest TWAB ever. So hang in there. We'll be right back. Hey, just a quick reminder that we have several Destiny 2 clans, and we invite all of you to be a part of it. If you're looking for a home to share your Destiny experiences, now would be a great time to jump in and get to know some of these great gamers. We're here for the community and friends you make along the way, and no hardcore restrictions. And enjoy what time you have for Destiny is all we ask. So if you're looking for a clan out there, join our Discord. That's discord.gg/GuardianDownCast, and just reach out to a mod and we'll open the door for you. So join us, and later, Guardian. Okay, it's This Week in Destiny for May 29th, 2025. This Week in Destiny, we've been meeting with some Guardians behind closed doors and letting them play Edge of Fate. All of that while focused on getting some amazing Ghost of the Deep rolls. It's Prophecy's turn in Rite of the Nine next week. Let's not spoil all the topics though. But I'm going to go really quickly through this. As of today, we're about 7 weeks away from the release of Destiny 2 Edge of Fate. We mentioned that in our intro that we had some very special guests at our headquarters in recent weeks. These Guardians had 2 days hands-on time with Edge of Fate and one-on-one conversations with our development team. And if you're looking to enter Destiny 2 The Edge of Fate without spoilers, they say now is the time to start going dark. Well, we've asked our friends to keep our spoilers to a minimum. Footage will include the first mission from Edge of Fate and additional gameplay capture from the Kepler destination. If you're itching to know more about gear tiers, Armor 3.0, the portal, hands-on previews, and interviews will begin rolling out on June 3rd. That's next week, at 9 a.m. Pacific. A quick list of who to watch for: Astacross, Benny, Dado, Fallout Plays, Cactus HD, Mactix, Merge 1, Morage 4N, Mr. Raffle Waffles, Nexus, PC Gamer, Shack News, Scaro 9, Walla, that's probably Walla Walla, and Zavalar. Sorry, I always misspell that. We have no doubt some questions will pop up soon after the content is live, and we're excited to say this is just the start of the conversation. Each TWID from now on through launch will be looking to address questions, expand content, or tease out further changes coming to Destiny 2. Not only that, but we have a few more info drops planned before launch. Mark your calendars for some upcoming live streams. The first one's June 24th, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's perfect. And July 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll both be back from our trips, Kingsley, so we'll be able to share those live streams. I'm excited they didn't put them flat.
I'm going on your trip too?
Well, no, I mean, we're both going out of town on vacation. We mentioned during our initial reveal event that there's quite a lot of changes coming to Destiny 2, system overhauls, new loot, new challenges, and more. We're excited to share that we've been working on since the final shape. A new saga is about to begin, and we cannot wait. They did mention that Prophecy is the dungeon for next week. They have a schedule in here of when increased loot and the rotation of the future raids, dungeons. And then they have what they call a Lootapalooza, July 8th until the 15th, where they're going to have increased currency rewards, weapon drops from enemies in all the dungeons, and they'll turn on a new way to spend your non-airy manifold currency. So no matter if you explore Eternity or Ultimatum difficulty, we hope you're having a great time and that you're getting the rolls you're looking for. Don't forget to attune them before jumping into the dungeon. One more thing. June is Pride Month, and they have some brand new Pride shaders available from June 3rd through the July 1st. Destiny 2 players will have access to our brand new Pride shader pack, bursting with bold, joyful shades inspired by the diversity and vibrance of the LGBTQIA plus community. This Pride shader pack is an opportunity to make a real world impact. While available in game, for every purchase of the Pride shader pack, it's 800 silver, $8, $550 will be donated to the Advocates for Trans Equality Education Fund, an organization that works to advance the rights and well-being of transgender people through education, public awareness, and community-based advocacy. So the shader names are Indivisible, Boundless, 10th Muse, and True Self. And of course, they have the classic Gay Pride Month emblem, if you are so inclined to, in a collectible pen, actually, which comes with the Infinite Prismatic emblem. $7 will be donated to It Gets Better, IGB, a nonprofit organization that strives to uplift, empower, and connect LGBTQ plus youth around the globe. The Infinite Prismatic emblem will also be available with a $10 donation to the Bungie Foundation, with all the net proceeds supporting IGB. So minus Tiltify and payment processing fees. They have mentioned that. They show the shader here. Boy, it is definitely colorful. Player support report. Kingsley, anything in here we need to know about as far as player support report?
No, nothing we need to know about.
Shit's broken. All right, moving on. We got some great art, and we got a movie of the week. Check that out in the Bungie.net. After teasing Titans for the 200th time, this twit is over. Don't take it too seriously, Pauldron Fascinicious. We love our Guardians equally, even Hunters. If you're the kind of player that always focused on just one character, that's totally fine, but you have 2 more slots in there just in case you want to try something different. This way you can understand them better and properly joke about warlocks jumping downwards. I don't want to hear that. Mocking class identity is our love language. Destiny 2 community team. Thank you, Destiny 2 community team, for communicating with us this week and every week. And that is it for this week in Destiny. Next, we're going to get into our third topic of the night. Be right back.
Hello, Scumdeath here, your favourite uncle, and you are listening to the most heavy metal Destiny podcast on Earth, Guardian Downcast. Guardian Downcast! Yow!
Okay, AdmiralNips, it's your turn. What topic are you bringing to the table tonight, sir?
I just wanted to talk music. We've been talking about Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and it's probably about as good a video game soundtrack as I've heard maybe ever. I don't want to get into absolutes there. I think there's probably some that I'm overlooking, or a fair number of ones that are, everyone has their own personal favorite on that, but I feel like it reminded me how valuable good music in a video game could be, because I think back to, if I look back to Final Fantasy VIII, and I can still hear the music that comes into, like, the battle noise for that, and the different, like, areas when you'd hear that, and it's like, now even, 25, almost 30 years later, after Final Fantasy VIII came out, I still can hear that on somebody's stream as background noise, and I'm like, that's Final Fantasy VIII, and I feel like 20 years from now, that'll be Clair Obscur as well. And even tonight, I was wandering around a new area that I haven't been before, and a new song was playing that I hadn't heard before. And as I was wandering around there, I'm just like, I just stopped, and I'm like, I just need to listen to this this piano bust out its little solo here, because it is so much fun. And it got me thinking about, just the value of good music in video games. I love the fact that for this game, they brought the composer on, what's his name, Lorien Tressard, really early in the process. So it was one of those ones that he had a long runway to create the music for the game. And I feel like matched it up fantastically. And it just wanted to like talk about music and how it brings out the value in games for you, because not just like one, like a great musical soundtrack for this game is great because it adds to the feeling of it, but two, as much as I like to give shit to Madden or college football or any of those things for having, you know, they just basically put out the same game every year with a couple of tweaks. Every year they put together a soundtrack for those games, and they're just absolute bangers on there. If you go back to like Madden 2013 and look at it, there's people that you've never heard of, or, well, you now have heard of them, but in 2013 nobody's heard of them, and 2 years later they were the biggest band in the world. Like, I love the work that video games put to make music part of it to just enhance the experience. And I just wanted to talk about some of your favorite songs, some of your favorite video game music moments, because it's just it's not a thing we talk about a lot when you're playing games, but a good soundtrack will make a game.
Yeah, we both our podcasts, we have song playlists that we put together from people who are on our show. And I'm a big believer that music is medicine. You can be in the worst mood and just put that right song on and just snap you right out of it. And another thing that music does for me, Nips, is it will bring me right back to when I first heard it. You're talking about Final Fantasy VIII. I mean, like the lullaby that we hear when we float in space in the Deep Stone Crypt. I always turn down all the game sound and jam out the music so my stream can hear it, because it's a Destiny 1 song that you remember exactly where you were when you heard that song. And I'm very Destiny oriented here, so you guys will probably have other better examples, but my God, the music in Destiny has really shaped how I see the game, and it just adds so many more layers on to all the visual stuff that you see in the game. But yeah, like I said, I'm a big proponent of music in games and obviously movies and entertainment, and I do believe it's medicine. That if you took music out of any kind of media out there, it just isn't the same. Just isn't the same. So that's my 2 cents.
Funny you should mention Destiny too, by the way. The thing that hooked me in Destiny 1, like, it was a fun game when I was playing it, but in that last array mission, when the array starts opening up,
yes, I know that
the
song.
Music hits as they start coming in, as the Fallen start coming in on the ships and stuff like that. When that music hits, that was the moment that both my brother and I were like, yeah, this game is probably going to stick around for a while. And then now we're 10 years later, and it's like, yeah, I'm not playing as much now, but I got as much money as I spent on Destiny, I got 3, 4, 5 times the value out of it. And I do credit that last array mission, and specifically the last array song, to be part of the reason why I loved the game as much as I did.
I played that mission 20 something times. I love that mission. And you know, shit's going down when you hear the march music coming in. You're like, it's like the Death Star. Think about it. When you hear about the Death Star or anything, and any that you hear that sound, you know, the Empire March, you know, shit's about to go down. So, I mean, what if you didn't have that in a movie? I mean, it would just be so plain and bland. Yeah. I'll let someone else talk if you want to.
Yeah, music, of course, is important, and I definitely want to focus on Clair Obscur again, because the way they did is just so unheard of compared to a lot of other games. Now, yes, of course, Destiny music is good. Funny thing, though, is even after all these years, how much playing it, really I can only think of a couple things that are super memorable still. Like, I really like the Journey song from Destiny 2 Vanilla, you know, where you lose your powers and you're going down the hill.
Oh, yes.
You're like walking all slow and it's all
Hobbling.
Sad and stuff.
Yeah.
And they have like a quartet playing there and
Finally,
stuff.
to, you know, not stop believing.
Yeah.
No, not that Journey. Not that Journey. No,
That's good
I got
too.
that Nibs. And it's too bad players can't even play that anymore. That's what's sad.
But in Clair Obscur, for this just being a one and done game so far, not 10 years of Destiny, did you guys know, you probably know this, but they have 8 hours of music.
Wow.
For this game.
Really?
And yeah, you can get the soundtrack, and it's 8 hours. And I feel like almost every single encounter and song is so impressive, way more memorable than any other video game I've played. I have in my mind right now so many songs I'm listening to in my mind right now that are really good versions of that. I saw the video of the composer and the people doing the music, the expose on it, and you can tell like they're just loving it. It's good quality stuff. I don't want to like ruin the lead. Are you going to talk about composer reacting to the other thing, or should I talk about that?
Go ahead. You brought it up in our little discussion, but Fluffy had something too before we got too far.
It's just about stuff we've talked about whenever you guys are done.
Yeah. So real quick, and then I'll be done. The music is so good that there's this composer guy that will react to video game music. Oh, and boy, when he was listening to Clair Obscur, he's like, if I didn't know this is a video game, like this is too good to be in a video game. Like this does not make sense with how good this music is. And he was super impressed, and so have I the whole time with the game.
Do you think it'll get a Song of the Year at the Game Awards?
I hope so. I hope it wins Game of the Year. I hope it sweeps as many things as it can.
Another independent. Balatro did it last year. Another independent could do it. Go ahead, Fluffy. What do you
got? So talking about games and music, I think one that always stands out to me is from Destiny 2, and that is, and I apologize because the name escapes me, but the raid, Rob, you'll know the raid I'm talking about, Deepstone Crypt.
Yeah, I think Todd mentioned that.
The space lullaby.
Turns the volume up.
The lullaby in space.
Yeah, when you go into the spacewalk.
For our raid team, we were very much playing Destiny almost every single Friday at that point in time. And Nessie would always say to me, or I would say to him, whoever remembered first as we were going into the airlock, like, turn your music on. Because normally we just have Spotify playing, right? Because we'd heard the songs a million times. But that Deepstone Lullaby song, you know, how many times did we complete that raid? Like 100+ times, nice. And still is like, impressive. I want to listen to this. Maybe it was less than 100 times. I don't know. It was definitely one of the most.
Well, it took Briz 52 to get his Eyes of Tomorrow, so at least 52 as a group.
My Lord.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe I'm not off. Anyways,
no, you're not.
That song's amazing, but I think, people who it's funny because this has definitely become the Clair Obscura podcast.
Sounds like
and
it.
It's exactly the guest that we are having on this coming week to talk about video games.
Nice.
But music wise, it is so good. Like it is so beautiful and there's so much of it. And the boss fights are all different, and it is just very much in the same way that those of us who've played Destiny or spent time in raids really appreciate the music in that game. Like, I think it's, in its own way, it's very much like that, and just wonderful. So, yeah, it's important. It makes a difference when it's great. You notice it.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to mention, Frostbite in the, what's up, Frost? In the chat said, remember Oryx theme on Regicide? Remember the door lights up with fire and you hear that at Oryx theme right before it opens? I played that mission a million times too. Definitely remember. I can hear it in my head.
Light, like when that light starts coming through that door.
Oh, it's wow. That's just pure art. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to put a little Destiny in here. I know you guys are the Clair Obscura podcast here. I was just trying to interject some Destiny stuff too, but I mean,
no,
dude, it's a great topic because,
I do think that there's a very real chance that in October I'm driving over to Milwaukee because the music of The Witcher is on tour in the U.S.
Really?
And so obviously I have played a whole bunch of Witcher 3 in my life, and 2 and 1, and read all the books. I'm a little obsessed, but they're on tour in the U.S. and they're coming to Milwaukee, which is, an hour drive from me. And I will go spend, whatever it is, $100 on tickets for Karina and I to go sit for 3 hours and listen to this because I will think of specific moments in the game when this music hits, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is when you're chasing after this griffin over in this area, or this is when you're doing this incredible mission with Siri, and like that sort of stuff is, you hear that music and it just takes you, transports you to that spot.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait.
Music's good.
Music is important. Like even more so in like I think in just any type of game, man. Like music can make such a difference in fighting scenes and fighting games, and yeah.
Yeah, and it's really important to have like themes that finish up perfectly when you do something in a game. And a lot of games do a good job with that. Even Destiny's done pretty okay with it.
Yeah.
But like, again, some games do even better. And it's just amazing when you can have this iteration on a theme. And when you do the final move, not only is there some amazing slow-mo combo thing that you see, but the music score changes perfectly where it doesn't feel like it's a jump in the track, yet has a closing theme that brings it all together. It's just so good.
And like Frost said, it brings that emotion out. I mean, it can really, I mean, their music will get me bawling like a baby in movies if it's done right. It just brings everything into focus, and I'm just very affected by music. I'm just a musical person, and like I said, it's so important in just about everything. And now there's AI that can make a song. Just you tell it what whatever you want to write about is. You plug it into AI, and it actually comes out with music. I was hearing there's a guy named Bandrew podcast called Bandrew Says Podcast, and he was actually sampling some of the AI stuff based on certain genres that he was thinking about playing in his show for like B-roll music or something. Some of it was really good. So that worries me as far as musicians, because my God, they already get nickel and dimed as it is already, especially, with the streaming services out there. Making money as an artist is so much more difficult now.
You can have both though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can still have, like, there's still going to be a demand for human made music, because there's no rhyme or reason to why someone does something, but it works. You know what I mean? When it comes to art and music and expanding music and stuff. So,
yeah.
And now that we're going down this topic, I mean, we've said before too on the show, or at least I have, that yeah, there definitely can be a need for both, but we do need to make sure that there's protections and laws in place that people know when it's AI, so we're not assuming it's vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, YouTube is doing that now. As
long as we know it's AI and AI is not stealing other people's stuff, then I'm fine with AI created stuff. But we need, if there's like the movie trailers that you got tricked with some in the past, Todd, but we need to have, when things come out, not just on YouTube, but everywhere, if they're AI generated, we need like a marking or something that says this is AI, just so people that don't, I know people should do their own research, yes, but I still think it's good so that we can appreciate where there's a difference between AI and human created stuff. Because if we're seeing the tag, oh, this is AI, then we know it's that and not human created.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a changing world out there, and artists and musical artists, all artists, there's an assault on them right now. And I really hope something is put in place to protect our artists out there, because I don't know. I mean, that's what makes us human, is our art. What comes out of our head is very unique. And I worry that AI might diminish a lot of artists out there trying to make a living. So I don't know. It's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to adapt, right? Like, it might be harder to use art to pay for your career, but I mean, it's also hard to be a professional gamer and not have to have a real job, but it doesn't stop any of us from devoting an unhealthy amount of time to gaming in our free time, right? So like, you can still create great art even if AI is making art, because it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you make $1, great, but if you're only focused on making dollars and there's that competition, like you gotta do something else.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yep. Anything else, guys, on our Mr. Nips topic? All right, I'm going to finish the show out. Hope you guys got your notebook out. We'll be right back. Remember the days of listening to your favorite radio station and chilling out by the pool? Or maybe rocking out in your car singing to those songs you knew by heart on the way to work? Only to be interrupted frequently to annoying ad breaks. Today it seems like there's just as much advertising as there is music, and why podcasts have become so popular. But I see more and more podcasts following that same trend, and it seems the corporate machine is slowly intruding into your listening space. This is why podcasts are so great, because we don't have to accept this, and thanks to our Patreon community, we won't be placing any outside ads or promotion into our show. So continue to enjoy our conversations ad-free. If you would like to join our Patreon community, check out GuardianDowncast.com and hit the Patreon button to find out more and how you can help out. Later, Guardian. Okay, to wrap things up tonight, my topic is concerning the state of the video game industry. There was a very long report put out by Epyllion. If you don't know who Epyllion is, they are a venture capital firm. And Matthew Ball, who wrote this, is one of the principal investors and CEOs of the company. He's contributed to The Economist magazine. He's a senior advisor at KKR, which is a private equity company outside of his company. And I'll have the report available in the show notes if you want to peruse the 231-page presentation. But I'm going to summarize it tonight and try to get the key points out, which begs the question, how will the gaming industry survive over the next decade, as there are some serious issues that might affect how we game in the future? So let's start with the data, right? If you start with the data spans that we're talking about here are from 2011 to 2024. Back in 1990, video gaming industry accumulated total sales of about $30 billion a year, and that's respectable. But today it's over $200 billion in video game sales. I don't know if that includes your subscription services and all that, but I'm sure it's some kind of an accumulation. They say video game sales has never been better from 2011 to 2020, as it grew 105%. Compare that with the U.S. GDP over that same time, which only grew at 51%. This is unprecedented in the gaming industry. And part of this was due to the COVID high, which, most of us had to stay home and get video games were a great distraction, if anything. But the data reveals that the COVID years only reinforced an already fast-growing trend. The report mentions several factors that made video gaming very strong throughout this period, other than COVID. The first was the popularity of mobile gaming. Billions of new players, new hours per day to play. It was accessible to everybody. The second one was the free-to-play model, right? That was introduced. This reduced the barriers to playing, and it created that whale in a new way to monetize games going forward. Third, live service games. This single-handedly lifted the engagement and monetization ceiling for all games out there. Fourth was the popularity of battle royales. This game model created the highest grossing games in history and expanded the cultural appeal and range of the game. Thanks, Fortnite. Fifth was cross-platform gaming. This expanded every multiplayer's game's social path and thus the appeal and playtime and spend on the game. 6, battle passes. This was a brand new monetization model that increased the paying share of our free-to-play players out there and enticed more players to actually spend money in the game. 7, social gaming. This led to the, quote, non-gamers to take up video gaming to connect with friends and family. 8, and the last one that I'm going to mention tonight is social gaming services. YouTube, Twitch, Discord, and others that created this new meta layer that enriched gaming and aided game discovery and strengthened social play. Now, those of you in the Discord probably are wondering now how I came up with the question of the week, because a lot of those factors were part of the answers to the question of the week, and I'll get to that part before we leave tonight. So according to this report, those were all the factors that made up what gaming is today, which is very strong, by the way. I don't want to discount that fact. It happens when an industry grows by leaps and bounds. What happens when that happens? And when the domestic gross product of the U.S. is surpassed, well, Wall Street begins to pay attention, right? And what happens is investors start investing in gaming industry. 2021 was a big year for outside investing in gaming studios and publishers. 2019 sales, $151 billion. 2020, $182 billion. 2021, $191 billion. And in 2022, It actually fell to 182 billion. And if you remember, this is when all those layoffs occurred in the industry. The industry had constricted, which was in part due to the cost of capital going up. Corporate loans, cheap interest wasn't cheap anymore. But don't get me wrong. The industry today is still $30 billion greater than the pre-COVID year. So it's very strong. 2023 numbers, 193 billion. 2024 stayed the same. Its first plateau in a decade. So what happens when investors see a plateau? They move on to other industries that aren't plateauing. Hence the problem we face today. Investor spending on video game content is down 77% over its peak. So in response, gaming company CEOs are cutting overhead in order to show profitability so that the investors aren't scared off. The only problem with this is that it's only a band-aid to a bigger problem, and the CEOs, I think, know it. This report also states that investors believe that these factors that I mentioned earlier have been played out and that developers are now desperate and are using gimmicks and other things to get their game to get attention. From the trends I'm seeing, it seems that investors are moving more into the AI industry these days. So what does all this immense data mean to us gamers, right? Well, I hate to get negative here, but the real truth today is that we, as gamers, are not the customer anymore for gaming studios. The investors are. We are merely the mechanism by which the gaming companies out there can keep their investors happy. It's sad but true to all but maybe a few independent studios. And we mentioned, we mentioned Clair Obscura tonight. Baldur's Gate 3 is another mention there, how they've kind of condemned this $80 price tag that's been thrown around lately. There's exceptions, but that's not really what worries me about a future in gaming. I think once the greed from investors and upper management wanes, studios are going to have to revert back to what keeps them in business. And that's us, the players. It's already happening as investors now see the gaming industry as mature, which is not the word you want to hear as an investor. So the thing that worries me about the next decade of the gaming industry is the fact that gaming competes with so many other areas in the leisure arena. It's been reported that we spend 1.4 million years every day on social media. Think about that. I've realized that creating games that can keep the attention of its player base is not ever going to compete with TikTok, which brings you right there on their platform, and YouTube is right there with them, and they don't let you get off. It's very, very addictive the way they have it set up. Independent studios that have opened since 2019 are having to close due to the lack of money available to fully fund their games from publishers. The would-be growth engines that they are talking about that might save us: cloud gaming, VR and AR, subscriptions, esports and esports betting, and new game genres. That's their hope, but they're not really driving any revenue or growth right now, let alone creating their own market leaders. But we have other challenges that we're dealing with right now. I'm going to show you guys the screen here. Sorry, bear with me here. I'm going to pull this up. Here are the factors that we're dealing with now, and hopefully you guys can see us on stream. It's going to be a little delayed. I apologize, but this is what we're dealing with now, and this is the reason why our gaming industry is in trouble. The end of mobile user growth, stagnant console install bases, the growth in foreign developers, the rise of social video, foreign-focused growth, worsening discovery, the black hole games, Call of Duty, Fortnite, the top 5 games for consoles and the top 5 for PC. Rising user acquisition cost, rising development cost, reductions in game sampling, strengthening production timelines, app stores closing, and what we talked about tonight with the $80 game, deflationary pricing. I mean, if you think about it, if you adjust, we talked about this last week, Kingsley, if you adjust for inflation, games should be much more than what they are right now. The games have been the same price, just like I mentioned with my mowing service, for decades. And the big one I was worried about is this one, the fear of failure rates. This is why the studios like Sony right now are rethinking Marathon and taking away all their dollars that they were going to spend on marketing. The fear of failure is huge when it comes to the future of our gaming industry. Now, I'm actually thinking that Microsoft may be one of the few companies out there that might be trying to compete with this new everything is an Xbox campaign they've been pulling out everywhere. Accessibility to gaming might be our saving grace in the next decade. And as much as I've been against the Game Pass program, maybe this is the way. Maybe I've been blind to it. Some other statistics I pulled from this report that the number of gamers have actually decreased, but the number of hours played per player has increased. Hence why our industry is still very strong. The entertainment industry, I believe they're having the same problem at the moment. How many Gen Zers are going to a movie theater? How many are watching things on a TV anymore? Some other bright spots, the fact that more games are being made from countries like China and Korea. They're starting to enter in to the market, and the fact that PC gaming is becoming so popular. But they have potential new engines that they say that might turn our gaming industry around. I just want to share those real quick here. I'm going through the presentation, by the way. I've got all the thumbnails to it. Page 228. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Non-core markets. Maturation of local developers. Content should create local spending growth. The UGC platforms, this is your sharing platforms like TikTok and YouTube and all of that. They're still surging, onboarding millions to video games while diversifying into new experience and formats. Social game services continue to grow in scale and engagement functionality while driving even greater game discovery. The Switch 2, that's a big topic right now. It comes out next week. It has the potential to massively expand the addressable playtime for the AA and AAA titles, especially by third-party developers and other handheld devices. Advances in local processes and cloud gaming may finally bring hundreds of millions of players to the PC console games. The GTA pricing, we mentioned that earlier. It could reestablish packaged video game prices after decades of deflation, despite rampant cost growth. AI we talked about. New game genres. I haven't seen too much of that lately. But these are just a few of the things they mentioned in this report. And I know this is a ton of data I'm sharing with you guys. It's just an info explosion here, but this kind of has me worried, man. I look at this, I ran through this report, and I think, Alana Pierce actually did a video on this as well, which got my curiosity to look into the actual presentation. And, there's the biggest thing that stood out to me is the fact that we are not the developers' customers anymore, that the investors are. And I'm just curious how long that trend is going to stay the way it is. So that's my spiel. What do you guys think? Discuss.
On that last topic real quick.
Yep.
If we're not the developers' customers anymore, then it's actually good news. It's kind of contradictory because if more investors are going away, they were the ones why we're not the developers' customers. So maybe we will actually start becoming the developers' customers since the investors are going away more.
That's my hope. That's my hope that they will revert back.
So yeah, I really don't think I'm worried about that too much. And I'm not worried about the state of the game industry as much. I think just what we're going to be seeing is less releases in general, whether that means mostly from the AAA. And when I say less, I mean like less within a specific year. So like games will take longer to make. Already the example, if it's an indie smaller studio, it takes longer anyways. The AAA studios will probably be cutting back even more or getting less investment. So we may see games taking longer to come out. But I still think there's going to be enough things. Now, again, if you only play one game, that's potentially bad news because Destiny also has been getting less and less content over the years. They've told us a million times that Edge of Fate is less overall content than the Year of Final Shape. I always want more, but we're probably going to be getting less unless something can change. The investors thing is funny because I feel like 80% of investors are always a little behind the curve. I remember a quote a long time ago. I don't know if it was Warren Buffett or what, and I'm not super into stock market or anything like that, but he said, if you're hearing that something's a hot stock to buy, that's already the wrong time to buy it.
It's too late.
It's already too late. So same thing with like this, like AI, if you're an investor going into it now, it's already kind of too late. You should have been one of the people that went in like 3 or 4 years ago if you really want to make the money.
Right.
So same thing with investors on games, unless they can figure out some new thing, stop investing on just the boring stuff, what you think will make the guaranteed money, because you're starting to see here that it's not, the customers are pushing back. They don't just want the boring stuff that's the same price or a little bit more. If something's going to cost more, it has to be dramatically better or different. So investors are going to stop investing in the boring gaming stuff a little bit, and then hopefully there'll be some other new fun thing. But I don't know, AI, I mean, sure, there's investment in there. I'm not saying it's a bad move, but investors typically, 80% of investors are always a little behind the curve, in my opinion. They're just going for again, it goes back to the Bungie example. They made this extraction shooter when it was all popular. At least the idea came 4 or 5 years ago. They started making it 3 years ago, whatever. But I feel like it's a little behind. Remember, so many, that was popular. And not saying there's not a market for it right now, but I kind of feel it's like too late. You know, if they wanted a better idea, they should have made. I mean, I want a Destiny 3, but can you imagine they made another game that's similar to Destiny, but totally different as far as like,
different
I don't know,
story,
maybe
different
it'll take place in
characters.
space or something, but a totally different story.
Right.
And if they made that and it came out of the blue,
a different story.
Yeah, then it would be amazing, right? That's something new. A whole new game, whole new engine, whole new systems, like everything completely different, but yet it still kind of has like, it feels like a Bungie game. Then that would have been the smart move, I think.
Yep, I agree. Mr. AdmiralNips, we have come to the point in the show where you and I are both polite Midwestern gentlemen, and neither one of us wants to go first and interrupt the other person. But I will ask to you, fine sir, would you like to state your point, or would you like me to go forth?
I'm just saying it's rough living in late stage capitalism. Investors run everything, and it's sure now as they flee away, you'll have more big layoffs. You'll have more, delays on games and stuff like that. But you're talking about $200 billion a year in the industry. Yeah. Nobody's going away for good, right? They're going to keep putting stuff out. You're going to have people who are artists creating new things. I think gaming will be a part of my life from now until the day I die. So I'm not too worried about it. Especially since I have learned to embrace the indie studios, and there are gems out there that will fill time for $20. Hell, I've picked up Monster Train 2 the other day and played that for a while, and I'll probably play it again. It's, it's just one of those things that Slay the Spire 2 is coming out in the future. That'll eat up another 100 hours plus, It's one of those things that I'm never worried about there not being a game for me to play. There might be not, the same level of, oh my god, this is the golden era of video games where there's 10 games out and I can only play 3 at a time. That's how I ended up missing Red Dead 2, right? I haven't played Red Dead 2 that much. Right. One of the greatest games of all time, and I don't have it, any sort of play on it. But not too worried about there not being something for me to play. So that's where I'm at. It'll suck. It sucks for the people who are in the industry, right? The people who are working in it, and the people who want to work on it forever, and they've spent their time learning how to do it. They've spent their whole, 20s and 30s getting into having a resume that says I can do it, and then all of a sudden there's not a job for them. That sucks. No doubt about that. But for me, in my spot as a consumer of video games and not a creator, I'm not worried.
Okay.
All right. 2011, 2024. That's where this article came from.
Let me do this real quick. I'm going to just show you the map. I'm going to show you the graph. I'll show you if you're on.
Okay.
If you're on stream, you'll see it. Go ahead.
As Todd puts that up there, to give people an idea, that is the Samsung Galaxy S2, the Apple iPhone 4S, the Motorola Droid Razr. That's the release year of 2011 we're talking about. Release year of Skyrim, Uncharted 3, Portal 2, Dark Souls, Modern Warfare 3, Gears 3. Okay?
Yep.
So I mean, that was a minute ago. Like, think of how many Call of Duty games have come out since Modern Warfare 3, the original one, or since Dark Souls became a thing. Oh, that's a Dark Souls game. Like, we're talking the year Dark Souls came out.
Yep.
Okay, so
these are the games. By the way, these are games they put in the report that were a driver too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So over that time frame, investment is down 77% since the peak. What is it up from its lowest point, and what is it up from initial starting point of 2011? Did I say that at all?
I can tell you that. Yeah, they have graphs like galore in here.
I apologize.
Where the real break was in the right. If you look at this graph, we're pretty much status quo until about 2005. I mean, even Amazing Taco King mentions this. That's when gaming really started building up and get some momentum. But it was not until probably 2015, if you're looking at this graph, where it just started going vertical. So 2015 being maybe the crucial time, but they draw the bar here from 2011 to 2020. And if you look at where investors came in, it's right here at the peak. It's right here at the very, very tippy top. This is where investment, private equity firms started coming in and started giving these big, right here, I'll show you. These are the projections that the companies put out that where they thought the gaming industry was going. You can see some of them were very, very, sorry, it's going to be a little bit of a delay when you're seeing it on stream. But these are the projections from a lot of your private equity firms out there that were guiding investors and investing in. This is where most of the investors thought that it was going to go.
But I mean, that's how industry works. Is like there'll be peaks and there'll be valleys,
right? And
you got to look at if you make a projection that's unrealistic versus the actual trend, and then you get upset because it didn't do that. It's like, well, were you smart about what you said, or were you just 5%?
Right.
Yeah, we need exponential growth. It can't be linear or flat growth. It has to be exponential growth.
Yeah. It can't make sense, or they can't look at the long term.
The next graph actually shows what actually did happen from the projections. Yeah. It'll be delayed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but okay, that looks like it could potentially be flattening out.
First time it did,
or stabilizing.
2023,
or
2024,
potentially growing again.
2024.
How dare there only be 5% growth?
Exactly. Well, but think about where we came from. Think of 1990.
Right? COVID.
Yeah,
but again, they're investors would be we can't have 4.75.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on.
Mm-hmm.
The point of me saying that is the industry will go up and down, and there's nothing saying that it's in a downward spiral or that anyone needs to jump ship, because they don't know what the future of gaming is going to be, because a lot of gamers are my generation of gamers. There's still a large population of NES, of Atari, of Super Nintendo, or whatever, people that are gonna become more and more just more and more open to playing video games, because they're gonna be less active, they're gonna be older, they're gonna be moving around less, they're gonna have less friends to hang out with because they're old and friends pass when you get old, right?
Yeah.
Less, they're gonna go to less things, but they're gonna have more time to play video games. And they're playing video games now. I went for a walk with my dogs tonight, and I saw my neighbor, and he was coming in from cutting his lawn, and we're friends. And I'm like, dude, I just got done doing what you're doing. I saw him basically walking around with his blower, blowing off the grass on his yard, about to be done. He's like, I'm just trying to go in and play some Assassin's Creed before the family gets home. And I'm like, yep. I'm like, enjoy your shower, man. I hope you get so point being, they don't know where the consumer base is going to go, because the consumer base is getting older, and people that took a break from games because they're busy with kids or busy with life or busy with pets or hobbies or whatever it might be, those people are going to become more and more prone to sitting around, being less active, being open to having more time to play video games. You know what I mean? So I don't know. They haven't seen enough data from that older generation yet, I don't think.
And keep in mind,
with games.
This report is from a private equity firm. So keep that in mind. It's a venture capital company that came out with this report for its investors. So it's like an investor report.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to comment on the points that you were bringing up.
I got you.
While you were, yeah. And then the last thing, game prices going up. I wonder, like, it would be interesting to see how the development of games changed with the media that is used for games changing, like with the trending away from physical copies and discs and even devices that can hold discs and doing everything digital. Like, it'd be interesting to see that data as well, as far as like overhead and cost to actually make a game and what impact it makes when they don't actually have to create something. You know, they can just push the code.
Yeah. I'm letting other people speak. You want to speak?
I said my piece.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of comments, and I just want to share some of these. JD Kent, we can still remember in 2008, Wall Street investors thought about housing. They are just like Vegas gambling with other people's money. Frostbite says something that you may be able to draw a parallel. The PC building market that past 2 years has been on a big pain point as some companies seem focused on contentment versus innovation. With NVIDIA, yeah, I remember that, yeah. Amazing Taco King again, putting D4 and Starfield as representatives of the best in the 70 years makes me question the legitimacy of this market expert. I love both, but they are not really great games for their companies. Well, let me show you the stock prices. I wanted to show you this too. This is our major gaming studios. This is the stock price going into 2025. Almost all of them are negative. I've dropped considerably. Nexon 52%, 40% Krafton, Roblox down 22%. Nintendo even is down 9%. EA plus 2%. Guess those microtransactions worked. Capcom was killing it, and Konami is killing it right now as far as stock price. But those are both Japanese companies, so I'm wondering how more of our American-based companies like Ubisoft minus 80% in their stock price. Of course, we've heard a lot of stories about Ubisoft having a lot of issues.
French company, Ubisoft?
Yeah, they're French-based.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard so many stories about Ubisoft having so many issues, and they have so much overhead. I think they're one of the biggest gaming companies out there. Aren't they? Have like 15,000 employees, or at least they used to. I'm not sure, but anyway, I just want to make sure that was thrown out there as well. Yep. Okay. Well, thanks guys for that info explosion I threw out there. I thought the report was very interesting, and I was, like I said, I was a little worried about, because we're talking about Marathon, we're talking about Bungie right now, which is our little microcosm when it comes to what we know about our gaming studios out there, and how much. I'm just really curious what Sony is looking at here when they decide what to do with the future of Marathon and Destiny 2 for that reason. But I wanted to transition this into our question of the week because it ties in with the concepts that I mentioned in the report. The question of the week was, what innovation in gaming is most appealing to you? And everyone had to choose one or else comment on one. Mobile gaming, 6%, free to play, 3%, cross-platform gaming, 19%. Nobody voted for battle royales. I think that ship has sailed. Gaming with friends was overwhelming, 58% of respondents. Battle passes progression, nobody chose that. And we had some comments here I just want to mention. Original Jimmy Rayner says, I think this will be the most one-sided vote, cross-platform, easy second choice, but Battle Royale is not really an innovation. Well, it's one of the engines that drove the industry, according to this report. Another thing is cloud saving and the Steam Workshop, and we mentioned that as far as future. Kilvin said,
well, when you wrote this question, we didn't know it was about investment. So yes. I agree, it's not an innovation either. But it's an investment? Yeah, I can understand then why they said Battle Royale.
It's gaming with friends and innovation.
Yeah,
because I remember playing Super Bowl in 1989 with my friends.
Multiplayer was big.
You misled us.
Kelvin.
And also, gaming with friends, it works with.
So it was under social gaming,
right?
That was under social gaming as one of the engines that drove the gaming industry.
What'd you say, Fluffy?
Like gaming with friends is on par with cross-platform, right?
It ties into it.
Yeah, kind of.
For multiplayer.
Gaming with friends.
For multiplayer games, they mentioned that. Yeah. Kelvin said, for me, it's a tie between VR and AR games and AI. I've played just enough VR games to see the potential of how immersive it can be, but I also feel like it's a handful of years away from delivering on that, at least reaching a point where I don't get motion sickness after 30 seconds. Or 30 minutes. It also means that AI automation could help developers get their ideas out there quicker, and better IA NPCs could be used to make content a lot more custom, varied, and replayable. Kingsley said graphics and tech.
I'm all
good.
I was going to say, I'm all about AR and VR because it fills my Instagram feed with kids punching other kids in the face as they're playing games. It's all I really want.
Hey, mine's right here. Still haven't touched it. It's right here next to me. I can't get it any closer. Necromancer had a really, a good point here. He said, we had it and lost it. Stadia. It didn't get the traction it deserved, especially seeing the lack of crossplay left the Destiny 2 user small player base for most of its life. Yet even content creators, especially PvP content creators, quickly came around as cheating wasn't possible in the Stadia pool. The software and the DLCs existed on Google servers only, so you couldn't stack cheating software on top of it. It was controller only. You couldn't macro your way out of anything. Beyond Stadia, open world games just blow me away. So many worlds to open to 100,000 players all at the same time in their own shared spaces, speaks volumes to the complexity. PC and graphics cards, he mentions as well. How many of us have started a console single player game, or even like Todd with the original TV antenna game Pong. So yeah, I played Pong at 12 years old, by the way. But amazing. I just put on there that it's amazing how far gaming has come in 40 years, but I just wanted to transition into that since we were already in that topic, with our question of the week. So if you do want to, answer our question of the week, go to our Discord, discord.gg/GuardianDownCast, and look for question of the week. And every Monday or Tuesday-ish, I'll release a question of the week with a survey where you guys can give us your answers. And like I said, we might share it on the show. Just a few more comments here in the chat. Microsoft is a publisher, where they buy studios that create games and just a producer. So they get a percentage of multiple company profits. Yes, that's true. Amazing Taco King. My hot take is that Sony felt left behind from market pressure when Microsoft bought like 10 AA and AAA devs. Yep. I know that was probably, and remember, Ryan was the CEO at that time, which was big into live service games. That big acquisition with Activision probably drove, Ryan to push that as well. Online gaming is the weekly poker night, but we can be in different places. And like I said, Frostbite said the Stadia was the biggest issue with the network issues that came along. Yeah, the cloud-based gaming isn't quite there yet, but it's definitely getting better. But no, that's it, guys. Yeah. Any other comments?
Yeah. So what I noticed, and this goes back with my point about investors not necessarily being smart in what to invest in, this is perfect, Todd, because the way you posted this question, we all took it as the true definition of innovation. So like gaming. Big things, but we didn't know your point was investors, what they think is innovation. And that's a totally different thing, because for us, we're saying things like gaming with friends or higher level things than Battle Royale. Battle Royale is just a type of game. Right. We don't think of that as a big innovation. Sure. But yet the investors are probably like, oh, this game's popular, so let's make more Battle Royales. And so that's exactly my point. It's like you got to go for higher level, just big new things those are the true innovations, rather than just a type of game or something like that. Yeah.
Well, I know we're running late, but I just want to thank you guys for bringing your topics tonight. I told you mine would be an info explosion. Hope you guys enjoyed my PowerPoint display. Felt like I was in a corporate business office or something, giving my spiel on the gaming industry and why we need to invest more in it. But I was fascinated by this report. It's very long. It's 250 something pages long. But once you start going through it, like Kilvin mentioned VR and AR, they actually have graphs on how many people or how the VR market is actually doing. They had microcosms of all those areas in gaming and how they did. This report is very detailed. So, and these are true facts. The reason I went to this Epyllion study, not only because, I saw it in a video on YouTube, but also because this is a private equity firm. This isn't a gaming publisher. This isn't a gaming journalist that might be biased in how they say things, because I read a lot of stories from gaming journalists, and Kings will even call me out and say, hey, this story is a no story. This is just something they're just trying to pump up something. And I get caught up sometimes in those stories as well. But, again, I just want to thank you guys for coming on the show tonight. I know it was a long one. I really tried to push it along as fast as I could. But thank you, FluffyFingersMD and AdmiralNips. Please, if you would, tell everyone about your wonderful podcast and where they can reach you guys. Oh, and I want to mention, I will be on Potato Thumbs podcast on June 10th. I don't know when Fluffy releases that, but, I can't wait to talk to these guys. It'll be some individual talk time with these guys, but where can we find you guys?
I will be releasing that episode after June 10th, because June 10th is when we're recording it.
Right. I get you.
Yeah.
Your homework between now and June 10th is to come up with the more information about the nude gaming you talked about.
The nude gaming?
Yes.
Nude gaming?
We need more nude developers.
Nude
you
developers.
said that
Yes.
they were getting rid of nude developers, is what it sounded like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are Potato Thumbs Podcast. We are two friends that talk on microphones every week. And we play video games, and we watch TV, and we listen to music. So we're pretty unique in that way. And our friends come on, and sometimes people we don't know. And we talk about this video games and TV and music because we're really interesting. And it's a podcast. So it's a podcast. So there's only video for us, but we do lots of video bits. Yeah.
The visual bits are a big winner on our audio only podcast.
Yeah, we're very hot with that. Innovation is what some say.
You have me sold. I'm going to invest now.
There you go. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
Get in on the ground floor. Literally couldn't be any lower on the floor.
Yeah.
Will
we
my
really
$100 buy-in get me $1 million down the road? Sorry, I keep disrupting.
No, you're fine. We really like at this point in our podcast, we kind of just show up. Sometimes we have notes. A lot of times we just start talking and recording, and it goes somewhere. And then at some point we're like, oh, well, okay, time to go. Yep, time to go. All right, peace. And then we end it. And that's pretty much our format these days. It's very professional.
I love it. Still love that format.
Yep. It's fun. It's very, I mean, we're still doing it. So it's apparently a thing.
Hey, Maximo here, one of the other Todds. You're listening to the Guardian Downcast, home of the coolest Discord group on the frickin' planet. Word.
Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to the patrons of our show. Because they give back to our show and community, they replace the funds that we need to run a community. Our publishing, all of our services we use in our community, our Discord fees, all of that good stuff. All proceeds of our Patreon commitments goes right back into our community. Special quick shout out to our Dungeon Champion patron, Deadpool1 Merc. A thank you to our Raid Boss patrons. That's Jealous, Frostbite, and Amazing Taco King. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving back to the show and community. And thanks to all of our patrons as well. Some final thoughts to wrap up the show this week. We had 4 really great topics tonight, and I wanted to thank FluffyFingersMD and AdmiralNips for coming on the Roundtable episode. It's the first show they've actually been on together. And it was great to hang out and with them and talk video games. Fluffy touched on the marathon fiasco and Bungie stealing yet more art and why it was such bad timing for a game that's already waning in excitement from its player base. And we'll just see what Sony decides to do now that they pulled all the marketing for Marathon for this summer. We'll have to see what decisions they make, and hopefully we'll hear something very soon. Kingsley highlighted why such a small studio made possibly a Game of the Year contender in Clair Obscura Expedition 33, which ironically had a staff of only 33 developers making such a beautiful game, and for a $50 price tag to boot. Should other studios follow their lead? Let us know. AdmiralNips mentioned how music in gaming has been so iconic and how we can go right back to those gaming moments all from one song. And of course, I believe that music is medicine, and without it, the world would be such a boring place. AI could also be a threat to the future of original music and art. Finally, I gave my summary of a private equity firm, Epyllion, and their presentation on the past growth and the future growth of the gaming industry and why they believe investors will begin pulling out of the video game industry, and what will this mean to independent studios as well as the big AAA developers, and how we play games in the next decade. Also threw out all the raw data that explains why gaming has made such a big jump over the past decade, and it was not related to the COVID years as much as expected. So what do you think? Let us know in our Discord. You can go to discord.gg/GuardianDownCast. Give us some feedback in our GDC feedback channel, and don't forget to say hi while you're there. Our community has always been very welcoming to our new members, so don't hesitate to jump in with our like-minded Destiny gamers. You can also give us feedback via email, guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or you can send us a voicemail at guardiandowncast.com. Next week, Kingsley Mack and I will be back, and now that Bungie has talked about popular content creators out there have actually gotten a trial experience with the new Edge of Fate, and we'll be sharing some of their feedback, I'm sure we'll have something to say about it. Also, next week, keep in mind, This Week in Destiny is supposed to kick off more information about July's new Destiny story. So we hope you join us. Well, that's a wrap. Another episode in our collection. For our new listeners out there, we have 305 other episodes with interviews from gamers all over our community, talking Destiny and whatever on our Roundtable episodes. So take a look at those, especially if you're just finding out about us. And if you like what you hear, tell a friend about us. Just say, hey, check out GuardianDownCast.com. Special thanks to my co-host. You can find them in our Discord, and I'll have all the links to him, as well as FluffyFingersMD and AdmiralNips and their podcast, Potato Thumbs Podcast, down in the show notes. You can contact me at Todd the Gator, 2Ds GATR, across all socials and gaming platforms. You can also reach me via email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Remember, as you're playing Final Shape, Ride of the Nine, take breaks, get outside, and touch grass. Kilvin. Hey everyone, we're Guardian Downcast, your stories, your community, your destiny. And be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
Guardians are measured by their ability to come back from defeat. So stand. Fight!
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian. Some good stories too. So, thank you guys both for coming on the show tonight. It's AdmiralNips and FluffyFingersMD. I'm sure that's if you guys want to be reached on X, that's probably the best way to reach you guys too, or in the Discord.
No,
Nope, neither of us are there anymore.
I love it. We're only there because I'm too lazy.
I'm just on Discord.
I'm too lazy to close the account.
Yeah.
So.
We have a Discord and we have a podcast where you find podcasts, and on that podcast, it has directions to our Discord and has directions to our playlist. But yeah, like they're just I don't know, man. It wasn't the right move for us to just be worried about social media and posting our podcast every week in different places, and when you could just go to the streaming service and check it out. So
you guys have a great community. It's very strong, and I'll put a Discord invite in the show notes if you guys want to join this Discord. It's some really great guys, and they do fitness challenges together, which I've done a few of them. I actually won this T-shirt.
Yeah,
on a fitness drawing.
We just started one. It's about a week in. Mm-hmm. It's totally free. We got somewhere mid-20s of people in Discord joining us this time.
It's good size.
Bunch of new faces. Not too late. So if you want to look sexier in a bikini this summer, you can join us, and we try and help you find healthier ways to be healthy.
Spoiler alert, this week has not been great for my bikini bod.
Dude, I am trending. I have spoken with the investors, and I am trending positive this week, but this past weekend really hit a low, and we've had to climb out of that pit, and yeah, that's for another time.
Wait, is low good or bad?
No, low in investment terms of how the investors feel about the scale numbers in the morning, in reference to Rob's comment.
Florida's considered the Caribbean. It's barely connected to the U.S. You know what I mean? It's
Here we go. We're going to slander
its own little island.
All right. Everybody's a jokester today.